Hello, everybody. Well, this is DJ Fermi. Welcome to the stream. Just hanging out here. Everybody, well, this is DJ Fermi. Welcome. Sorry, let me pause all my streams. Necrotic stones. Outside. What level is this quest? Still with this raid. So right now, I'm going to Alterac Mountains, where I'm going to start questing and grinding. These look like an epic gloves for a second. They look like the gloves of Transcendence. There's that bat fool.
I am forsaken.
Iron balls. Not even on Auction House. I don't know what he's talking about. Yeah, I really should have vendored all this stuff, auction houses, while I was in town. But that's what fucking smart people do, and I'm not a smart person. I'm a dumbass. I don't know why you guys are even watching. It's fucking unsub right now. Worst stream ever. You're here to watch me implode. I'm just gonna have a breakdown. I'll be crying in the corner in an hour. Yeah, no. I'm fucking spiraling, man. Shit's not getting good. But at least I have World of Warcraft. So, I got this cool leveling guide I found. Look at this. Where is it? Here it is. Where'd it go? Oh, did I close it? Oops. No, it's over here. Look at this. They have it all mapped out. Like, this is really specific. This is for level 30 to 40. Oh, damn. Not bad. So, let's see here. Dustwalla Marsh. So, I thought I was level 37, so I'm going to follow the level 37 path. Alterac Mountain. I'm actually reading chat. If you say things, I promise I'll read it. I'm looking over there constantly, which is sad because every time I look over there, I see how I have 0 watchers, 0 watchers, 0 watchers. I'm all alone. No one out there to be with me. It's going fucking crazy on stream. Yeah, I think you gotta be. Well, I guess who wants to watch a sane person, right? That's pretty boring. Alliance Druid at Sunrock retreating. Gank low level. Go to a small house. At 60. What the fuck? Hold on. Okay, they're talking about over here. Go in small house. 6121. And accept the quest. Break in prison and stone tokens. I don't see either of those. Hey, here's a guy who's got fucking quests.
I'm listening.
Break in. Prison break in.
I'm listening.
Stone tokens.
Farewell.
Alright. Go north to a small cave, 3766. Alright, let's get going. So I'm literally following this questing guide right now. I've never done this questing guide. I'm curious how it will work out for me. There's a check mark. Check. Go north, the small cave. I'm going to avoid the fights. I wish I had a mount. And on the way, kill / loot a cat. For a fresh carcass. Then, if you still have Herculer's Revenge in your quest book with 2 or 3 flames charged, click on the Flame of Uzal. What does it say? In the same cave, do frostbite. 4. Oh, shit. That's what I get for not paying attention. I fucking get to die. Good. My guildmate said he killed somebody. Good. Fucking good. Kill all the Alliance. They're all a bunch of cunts. This guy better not kill me. Don't be lame. Leave me alone. I'm peaceful. Leave me alone. I'm a peaceful. I'm a baby. I'm a peaceful baby priest. Nobody wants to kill the priest. It should be a dishonorable kill to kill the priest. Leave the priests alone. We're squishy little babies who just trying to level up and heal. So I become a face melting shadow priest. Hey, how's it going there, fat boy? My cat is overweight as hell. Hey, fatso. How's it going? You gonna eat some more? What level are these mobs here? 31? Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna abandon these quests. We're gonna skip a bit farther ahead here. What the hell is this shit? I think you're doing thought. Let me try this again.
Strength and honor for the...
I'm gonna abandon these PvP quests. You can always pick those up. I'm almost done. Head 20. Look at that. 1420.
What's up? Hurry back!
Very nice. I'll get that done with. There's too much crap in my mailbox. Can't handle it. I should just get a bank alt. Just mail everything to it. That's what all the pros do. Am I a pro? Hell no. Some type of amateur scrub. Everybody hates
Yo,
to play with. Never get invited to
keep
groups.
it real. Got the best deals anywhere.
Congar's whisker. Ooh. Ooh. I wonder how much I could vendor that for. No. Do not disconnect. I get that sweet nectar out here and the shank, your mystery meat, his gorilla fangs. Purple lotus. I wonder how much that would auction house for. Let's go look at the old Booty Bay auction house. What is a quest person down there? Probably should pick it up.
You need something? Be careful.
There we go. Let's look at some weapons. There's weapons here. Yeah, no, this is just the general weapons, this weapon range. That's all there is. Now, if I type in something else, like green, well, there, whatever. What's a good price? At least 10 cents. go. Let's keep posting them. You know, what'd be really evil is would be to maintain a monopoly on these pages, and always make sure that you're always buying them out. I think I might do that. Maybe I should do that now. If I were to, like to maintain a monopoly on page like 1, for example. Huh. I'll try doing that. If I see pages that are under 10 cents, I'll buy, and there's only one of them, I'll buy it and repost it for 50 silver. We'll see if we can get people to buy it.
Talk to me.
Well, I have a lot of silk cloth now. Rather happy about that. Oh yes, baby. Yes, kitty. Oh yeah, I gotta feed you. Amazing content, I know. Hello, Supreme Games and more. Great, great, great fucking content. I'm so sorry for existing. So,
Keep it real.
what was the plan again? Then go to Hearthstone. Turn in parts for the swarm. Accept the next part. If the cracked silted carapace remains in your bag, destroy it. Yes, we don't need that anymore. Alright. I'm trying out a new leveling guide. I haven't seen this before. So then I would say go to parts of the swarm, do that. Go to the Flight Master and go to Thunder Bluffs. Then go to Hunter's Rise, turn into that. Level 38 now. Do it. Go to the bank. Put the following items in it. Fizzle, Brass Bolt's Letter. And a Moonsteel Broadsword. Then we're going to Dustwallow Marsh. Alright. Let's see, what's the fastest way to get to Dustwallow Marsh? I gotta take the boat. Again, this is extremely high level pro content gameplay. You guys can't handle this. Do I need to get this quest?
Time is money, friend.
Look at that later. Two? Oh. Wow, this leveling guide looks really awesome. I can't wait. Whoa, guys, dead bodies here. I need to get some like stream emotes and shit. Get chat flying by. Pew 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 pew. Lasers. You can duel people. That's right. Break. Where's my mind control? I need to put that on the hot bar. How do I not have mind control on the hot bar? Oh, you keep running. Let's give this guy a buff. He looks like he needs a buff. There you go. Have 28% more health. That means in PvP you might have a 28% chance higher to live? Yeah, I'll go with that. If you had twice as much health, they should double your odds to live, I'd say. 100% chance. It doesn't mean you have a 100% chance. It means it's a 100% chance higher. This is where I'd mount up if I had a mount. DJ Fermi, calm down. Nobody friggin' cares. So I need to get some spices. Here's a person. Let's give him a buff. Too low level. Nerd.
What's up?
Spices. Cooking. Cooking. Why would anybody watch this trash? You watch me for when I shit on myself. And laugh. We all laugh at me together. I'm okay with that. I can laugh at myself. I'm okay. I can be bullied. What do I need here? I need to get soothing spices. Soothing spices.
I got what you need.
Hot spices, mild spices. That's not what I need. I need a cooking person.
Oh, do I have a deal for you?
No, bet your Booty Bay had a cooking vendor. We should have went to him then. Come on, where's the useless chef when you need one? Workshop assistant.
Yeah, what do you want?
God, you look like you're popping. Am I in 4chan or am I playing World of Warcraft here? What's going on?
What's up? Hey, how you doing?
Time is money, friend.
We have this flight master. Let's go to the Barrens, okay? We'll try to look around a few places because I got to get these Theramore spices. I'm going to try to follow this leveling guide for a little bit here and see how accurate it is. Saved. That's the new name of the stream. Can I spell? Yes.
Loktar. Trollhall.
get soothing spices? Okay, what about the Barons? The baker. The baker. The baker has soothing spices. Where's this stupid bread vendor? It's always just like fresh bread, and they're always yelling at me. There is the baker. I love her. Give me your baked goodness. I'm ready. It doesn't. Wait, what? Tarbon Hearthgrain. What? Is this real? Is this person even real?
What you do it, man? You come get the voodoo. Speak, friend.
Bags and sacks. It's just a balls and sacks. Way funnier.
Well met.
This merchant doesn't like you, Ma. What does that mean? I don't like him. Fuck off. You should resell this on this server. Spirit. I'm looking at all my chats. I'm not ignoring anybody. Huh. Where? She's over here. This quest is way too elaborate. Already. This game's too hard. That's what I thought. Let's put all the cloth down here. Why am I should have vendored all this cloth. Well, I'll do it at my own auction house. Hey, there he is. Wow, this guide, these maps might be accurate.
Greetings.
How many do I need? Three of them.
Be careful. Looking for something special?
There we go. I got 3 sets of soothing spices. What is going on in Baron's chat?
Sug sug. Go.
A bunch of degeneracy, apparently. Some people say I'm a degenerate for playing this game. I can't wait for Classic to come out. Ah, la 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 la. Fellcloth, 65 gold a cloth, elemental earth, dream foil, black lotus. Can I do any of this? Nope. Hello, fat boy. You gonna sit next to me? I should really get like a cat cam, like, so you can see how fat he is. Oh great, I messed up my green screen. There we go. How's it going, boy? You eat your food now? You all good? You're gonna start purring next to me? What is happening in Baron's chat? AFK running. Just like back in the old days. But this is how you get adventures, though. There was like, we're running along, minding our business. This is what I keep saying. I keep getting older and older. I keep getting older and older. Baron's chat never ages. Okay, Chuck Norris can slam a revolving door. That's my one Chuck Norris joke. Yeah, Blizzard needs to have, if it's not there, needs to make sure there's some guy who's making Chuck Norris jokes in Baron's chat. Make a bot to do it. It's part of the vanilla WoW experience, is having Baron's chat flooded of Chuck Norris jokes. Who's with me? Jamo is online. Jamo is with me. He came online just to fucking agree. There. That's all we're gonna send him. Send him a bunch of fucking cues. That's it. Send in some more. Now you know what the hell to think. Now let's drop a lol at him. Oh, then you just say mistyped. Everybody forgives you. Yeah, I accidentally typed all that at you. Sup Fresh, our turn baby, is looking for the freshest levels on the servers. We run more dungeons in PvP than a Chinese abortion doctor. I don't even know what that means. But I don't like it. Dolphins were invented in the early 1800s by European settlers to protect their ships from pirates. I disavow. I disavow that claim. Oh, as soon as my wife comes home, I'm going to watch Game of Thrones. I hear this third episode is complete and utter bullshit. But you know what? I'm a fan, and I'm going to finish out the show. And I can safely say I watched every fucking episode of Game of Thrones. Game of Bones, more like. Alright, so we're finally making our way up to the Horde place. We'll drop a buff on ourselves, drop some more buffs, drop some more buffs. I'm going to go AFK, run to the bathroom, and let my character run to the wall for the next 3 minutes. Want to buy fell cloth. I want you to shoot up. Jamo is offline. Did I do that to him? Mud Crush Dirt Fuzz. What? This is hungry? I've never been to this city before. So this is genuinely a new experience. I've never seen this city before. Where is this place? When do I see it? Oh. Okay. What the hell?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing too is that how would you? Let's just say things are going to shit really quickly.
Right.
Right. There's a nuclear power plant that's going to blow up any second now.
Any
right?
second.
How would you? Are you like a? I know you're an outdoorsy guy. You hunt. You kill, harvest, as they say.
Harvest.
Sorry. How long do you think you could survive if things went to shit really quickly? If you had to survive, you have all the money you want, right? Mm-hmm. But like, how long do you think you could survive in the wilderness?
It would be very hard. It's not easy. And not only that, you got to get through the winter. So you're going to have to build some sort of a shelter.
But
you're
there's no
going to
winter.
have to maintain fire.
There's no winter here, though, is there? I mean, what's the coldest
Not
it gets here?
in L.A., but in Big Bear, which is only a couple hours north of here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of places where you could drive in a couple hours. You could go to Big Bear, and then you can go down to the beach. You could experience the desert.
Yeah.
You could experience a lot of different climates. It would really depend upon where you were stuck and what you would eat. So the thing is, if you want to stay in the L.A. area, you're dead because you're not going to be able to eat shit. There's nothing here.
Would you stay in your house? Would you migrate? You have kids and a
Yeah,
wife.
you got to get out of here.
So you'd leave. You drive your Tesla.
Right.
Which car would you
No
take?
way.
What?
No way.
There was a big debate that I had. If in a crisis situation, right? Would you take the Tesla?
No.
Or would you take? What would you take?
I have a Toyota Land Cruiser with a
V8?
40-gallon gas tank. Yeah. I got an Apocalypse Mobile.
But so now I went through a big debate. I got shit on so much for this. I said the same exact thing. It's like, listen, in an oh shit situation, I would leave the Tesla behind.
Who argued with you about that?
A lot of people. I would leave that behind. I take my pickup truck.
Yeah.
My Tacoma.
That's what
I
you do.
fill it with gas and I just
100%,
drive. And they're
100%.
like, well, you know, in an emergency crisis situation, you don't have access to the gas. What if the gasoline didn't work?
You go to the liquor store, you fill it up with alcohol. It'll run.
Remember we had the hurricane in Florida a while back?
Yes.
Now, everyone was saying, like, yeah, the gas pumps wouldn't work because the electricity was shut off,
Mm-hmm.
and but the superchargers still work, and you could get to your destination still, and, like, Teslas use less energy. It's like, at the end of the day, I'd hop in a pickup truck with, like, 2 shotguns and, like, 5 things of gasoline and be fine. I don't understand that.
Yeah, they also make tanks that you can put in your gas tank, in your the bed of your truck, rather, that are
right.
like these survival tanks.
You can
that-
drive as far as you want.
Yeah, and you drive thousands of miles. There's a guy who actually, there was a podcast that I was listening to. This guy who is like an extreme prepper, and he actually made a trip with one tank of gas from Arizona to Canada.
Damn.
He drove all the way up to Canada, all the way across with one tank of gas. Because this massive tank in the back of his pickup truck that feeds directly into his primary gas tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can get these. They're like these survival tanks. And, you know, they'll host like hundreds of gallons
But you're also a
of fuel.
target. I'd probably shoot at the guy's car. That's the other
Why
thing
would
too.
you do that?
So I don't know.
All of a sudden you're lawless.
Yeah, see what
Immediately
happens?
You become
Yeah,
a barbarian.
I know. The lights go off for 5 minutes. Want to kill everyone.
You're starting fires, shooting cars. Yeah.
So then, all right. So you leave. You take your family, right? You have your kids, you have your wife. Where are you going to go? You hop in your Land Cruiser. Where are you going to go?
You have a real problem.
And what are you going to bring?
You would have to bring things to start a fire and things to kill animals.
Right.
Those are the things that would be very important.
Okay.
I would bring guns.
Right.
I'd bring bows. I'd bring ammunition and arrows. But I would realistically realize that, first of all, I'm not going to make more bullets and I'm not going to make more arrows.
Right.
What am I going to do and how long
Right.
am I going to last?
Would you bring
out here?
marijuana?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd be just trying to stay alive.
Yeah.
But you'd also be trying to stay alive for a long period of time.
Right. You might want to bring it.
No.
Ease the pain. No, really?
No.
What?
No, it's not going to. That I mean, marijuana for pain relief. I mean, I guess it works,
Yeah.
but that's not what I use it for.
Pain at night of the impending doom you're
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be freaking out even more. I'm freaking out plenty.
Yeah.
There's not room. I would bring water purification tablets.
No
I'd
food
bring
though.
filters.
Canned food.
I would bring food. I'd probably bring food in the form of heavy duty bars, like that don't take up a lot of space, but are
Right.
dense and nutrient rich. Like there's those green belly bars.
Protein bars.
Yeah, something that has a lot of calories, high calories, in a small package, a small size.
Right.
Where are you heading?
Yeah. Exactly.
Go
Where
in
you
the
going?
woods. Yeah, you got to go somewhere where there's animals. And even then, you're not going to make it, and your kids are probably not going to make it.
Oh,
That's
that's
the real
uplifting.
thing. It's
Yeah.
true. The idea that you're going to live off of animals, this isn't the Serengeti, man. There's not a lot of animals. Unless you're somewhere where you can find a lot of fucking animals.
Right, like rabbits and shit.
Yeah, and you
right?
got to keep them, like, you're going to have to kill them every other day because they're not going to last with the heat.
And your kids aren't going to eat a dead rabbit for sure. Not at
They'll
first,
eat
at
a
least.
dead rabbit.
Really?
Yeah, they'll eat a rabbit. Yeah, my kids will eat pretty much anything.
Do you know how to start a fire?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, but it's not
You're
easy.
weird. No, it's not.
If you have a string and a bow and 2 pieces of dried wood and, you know, hardwood and a softer wood, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it, but it ain't easy. Like starting a bow with one of those.
Yeah, no.
Starting a fire with one of
Take
those
you
things.
2 months.
That takes a little while.
Really?
But it's not easy. You're better off with a flint. If you have a flint and a piece of metal, you can start a fire pretty
Good
easy.
spark, yeah.
And also, you want to bring with you some tinder. You want to, if you have some dry tinder, you should bring that with you too.
Start
Look,
fire,
you're in
sure.
for a world of hate,
Yeah, no,
a
man.
world of shit. If you want to really survive,
Right.
whenever I watch those survival shows, with
Which I
those
love, by
people,
the way.
they're
I'm
great.
really into that shit.
They're exciting, right?
Yeah, I'm into that shit.
What would I do?
What's that? That's great.
What? Don't fit.
It probably is. Big bird, everyone. You want to go on that one? Very chill. Is that the one that just opened? I hope I can smuggle the phone with that. We're about to do the most exciting ride of the century. What? I can explain what it is. It's a bit random to go to Marrakesh just for a water park, but I've never been to one, so why not? Say that again, Marcia. You got 2 balls, bitch.
That's a tip.
Ew! We are on the boats. I smuggled the phone. Hopefully they won't kick us out. What are you doing? Hurry up. That's right. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get burned. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm trying not to. Woo! Let go right freaking now, or else. Ah!
Okay, enough of PewDiePie being rich on traveling the world. I'm not jealous. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Absolute cancer. God, I cannot be part of this.
Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show. And actually, some quick notes before we get started. One, we learned some things yesterday. Turns out if I threaten to throat punch you at the beginning of the video, if you do not hit that like button, 3 times as many of you will actually hit it. Also, it turns out a good number of you want me to throat punch morning deep dives every week. Those have gone up every The surprise news that Facebook and Instagram are banning a number of users today. And those bans reportedly included Alex Jones, InfoWars, Milo Yiannopoulos, Paul Joseph Watson, Laura Loomer, Paul Nealon, and Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. And this was reportedly done under the company's policies against dangerous individuals and organizations. Also of note here, not all the bans were the same. For example, Alex Jones and InfoWars had previously been banned from Facebook, but he was still on Instagram. But as of today, that's no longer the case. Also, according to The Atlantic, a company spokesperson for Facebook said that InfoWars is being hit with the strictest of bans. The Atlantic writing, according to a company spokesperson, any account that shares InfoWars content will see the content removed. Adding, if an account violates terms on multiple occasions, it will be banned. Continuing, Facebook and Instagram will remove any content containing InfoWars videos, radio segments, or articles, and Facebook will remove any group set up to share InfoWars content and events promoting any of the banned extremist figures. As far as the ban on the individuals, they reportedly are all personally banned, as are any accounts set up in their likenesses.
Holy
But unlike
crap.
InfoWars content, users may still praise those figures on Instagram or share content related to them that doesn't violate other Instagram and Facebook terms of service. And like I said, I was finishing up today's show when this broke, so this is still developing in a weird way. Right, this news broke, it popped up everywhere, but some of the people who were said to be banned by this move were still up. And according to Taylor Lorenz, one of the people that wrote one of these articles, the embargo lifted literally minutes ago and they're taking them down as we speak, which is a weird, confusing order to do things. And you know, with this, I mean, it makes me wonder how long ago was this decision made? When did the media learn of it? The portrayal of this story is also weird because it also appears that initially Farrakhan was being labeled a far-right leader by some outlets, including the Washington Post, who I will say of note have since issued a correction deleting that initial tweet. But also, as of recording this video, you still have places like Politico still seeming to call him far-right. I don't know, but like I said, this situation is still developing. It seems to be happening in a sloppy manner, and I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts regarding all of this? And then let's talk about a controversy that puts me in a weird place, but if I didn't talk about it, I wouldn't be able to respect myself. So we talked about the CEO of YouTube, Susan Wojcicki, yesterday because she put out this very large blog post. She's been meeting with creators. Part of that post and a lot of the messaging is being very creator focused. One of the notes she hit on was YouTube promoting real YouTubers. Writing, going forward, our goal is to have at least half the videos on trending come from YouTubers, with the remainder coming from music and traditional media, something we're close to already but we'll expand on. Adding, and we'll continue to ramp up our Creator on the Rise and Gaming Creator on the Rise initiative. But there was controversy that was sparked yesterday because there was a video of Susan talking to an artist by the name of Juice WRLD, where she says, and I'll quote it rather than including the actual clip because I do not want to get hit for copyright or just any weird thing, and I'll touch on why in a second. She says, quote, "I know, how can we help you? You're so talented. We got to get your subscriber numbers way up. We're going to make it happen, all right? We're here for you, however we
Wow,
can.
that's so great. I wish you would fucking help me like that.
As if I, and she ends up getting interrupted. And like I said, this video popped up and it started gaining a lot of traction on social media. Specifically, I found it from Justin Wang, but the video itself is from a channel called No Jumper, which, if you're not familiar, is owned by Adam22. And what made it exceptionally odd was that when you went to the video where this clip came from, when you look at the comment section of where people were posting the time code of where Susan popped up, the clip was no longer there. It looked to have been removed after the fact, which I think to a number of people makes it weirder and more concerning, because I saw that initial clip and I was like, okay, well, that's the CEO of YouTube kind of just schmoozing with a celebrity. Right? Even in Susan's blog post, she talked about, you know, half
But then
the
she
trending
deletes
being
it.
music.
The cover-up is always worse than the crime.
Your quest for validation has involved celebrities, musicians, actors, whoever. So maybe it's just kind of generalized schmoozing and blowing smoke, or maybe they would put him in a Creator on the Rise. It could be something else. I mean, I've seen a lot of people having an incredibly negative reaction to this. I don't personally think that this is evidence that Susan or one of her underlings are doing something shady. Right, for all we know, this could be the beginning of a conversation of, yeah, we'd love to do like a big YouTube live stream event of one of your blah, blah, blah. Right, you have some people saying that this proves that she's anti-small or organic creator. I personally don't believe that's what it shows, and I mean, even looking once again to the blog post, I think a lot of it touches on the duality.
She wants
that comes
YouTube
with
to make
job,
the most
trying to
amount of
foster
money
support, potentially
possible,
growth in
which
both the
means
mainstream and the organic.
blowing
But,
the corporations
that's, of course,
as well
my
as the
personal
independent
takeaway.
creator.
That's the
You gotta
story.
learn how to
Of course, it
screw
has
them
to
both
touch on you.
over.
What are your thoughts around all of this? From that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today and awesome, brought to you by Beautiful Bastard. That's right, as of about 2 weeks ago, in the real life, Spams, although not technically hologram. Just watch the video, you'll understand. Then we got the How It Should Have Ended review for Avengers Endgame. We had Ryan Reynolds giving us a video of Pikachu and a foot massage. We got the official teaser trailer for The Righteous Gemstones from HBO. We got the official trailer for Crawl. We had Half as Interesting giving us how an Australian Prime Minister disappeared without a trace. The infographic show gave us White Hat Hacking Explained. For your food prawn needs, we had Binging with Babish giving us cheese dips.
What are we doing?
Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron playing Truth or Dab, which on that note, we also got Scott Kramer giving us every Hot Ones episode. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, really anything at all, links as always are in the description down below.
Why would I want to watch that? that just because you like
that people will definitely not.
you
have
just like said, "Oh, this is trending today." That's so stupid. What is wrong with this video? Why do people watch this? Have a fucking downvote.
very passionate feelings about. And for those that are bad at social
Philip
cues,
DeFranco, this
sarcasm.
sucks.
Yesterday, the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, which is the highest court in international sports, ruled that discrimination against female track athletes with naturally high levels of testosterone is necessary to protect other female competitors. And the court's decision here upholds a regulation that was put into place by the IAAF, which is the International Association
Sounds like he
of
fucking
Athletics
sped up his
Federation.
speech,
They're the
too.
governing body for track and field, and that regulation requires that female runners who have certain levels of testosterone to use hormone suppressants to lower their levels. And if those runners don't, they will not be allowed to compete in certain races at major competitions like the Olympics. And as far as who brought this case to the CAS, it was South African track star and two-time Olympic gold medalist Caster Semenya. She asked the court to overturn the rule. And Semenya, for those that don't know, is a woman who has naturally occurring high levels of testosterone, and the IAAF regulations would force her to suppress her hormones in order to compete in her main event, which is the 800 meter. And the IAAF has said that these regulations are necessary to even the playing field, arguing that athletes with differences of sexual development, DSD, have an unfair advantage. With the IAAF saying this is particularly true for women who have high testosterone levels who run in women's events ranging from the 400 meter to the mile,
Talking about trans.
because those races can be won by 100th of a second. And adding that this is
I don't think that's a woman, bro. That's not a woman of naturally high amounts of testosterone. That's called a man.
because women with higher levels of testosterone have more muscle mass, strength, and higher oxygen carrying capacity. What was really fascinating
You mean...
is despite the fact that CAS found that these regulations were discriminatory, they still ruled in favor of it. In a 2-1 decision, CAS decided that, quote, such discrimination is a necessary, reasonable, and proportionate means of achieving the legitimate objective of ensuring fair competition in female athletics in certain events and protecting the, quote, protected class of female athletes in those events. However, the court did express serious concerns about the practical application of testosterone limits, such as athletes struggling to maintain the required hormone levels even with the suppressants. Also, the fact that it may be impossible for some athletes to comply because of the side effects caused by the suppressant. CAS was also concerned about a
Well,
lack
it
of
sucks to
evidence
be them then, man. Just like it sucks to be the girls who would have to play against them with who these athletes who have an unnatural advantage.
DSD runners really do have a significant advantage at long distance races like the 1500 meter and the mile. And so regarding that, the court asked the IAAF to consider not applying that rule to those specific races until they have more evidence. Now, of note, while the court's decision certainly comes as a blow to Semenya, this is also not the first time that she's had to deal with this kind of problem. Back in 2009, Semenya won a gold medal in the 800 meter at the World Track and Field Championships when she was only 18, but her win raised questions about her gender, which then promoted the IAAF to subject her to a gender verification process, resulting in the IAAF deeming her ineligible to compete for 11 months. And of note here, the IAAF's handling of the situation was widely criticized, with South African officials and others saying that the tests were racist and sexist. And Semenya, for her part here, has always said that she is a woman and that she should be
How is it
able to compete in these
racist?
events
What the fuck? Not everything's racist.
without suppressants or body-altering measures. In a magazine interview in 2009, Semenya said, God made me the way I am, and I accept myself. I am who I am, and I'm proud of myself. Then, in 2011, the IAAF adopted new regulations regarding eligibility for DSD women, and while that move didn't seem to impact Semenya, who went on to win her first Olympic gold medal in 2012, the rule did disproportionately affect other women, prompting CAS to overrule the regulation in 2015 after a female Indian sprinter who had been indefinitely banned brought it to the court. Following that decision, Semenya then went on to win gold again at the 2016 Olympics, and that win really seemed to piss off the president of the IAAF, who then said they would challenge CAS's ruling. And that ultimately led to the IAAF introducing new, more restrictive regulations in 2018, which brings us all the way back around because those are the same regulations that Semenya brought to the court. Which, regarding the court's decision, we saw Semenya respond with a statement that was released to news outlets, writing, I know the IAAF's regulations have always targeted me specifically. For a decade, the IAAF has tried to slow me down, but this has actually made
It's not you specifically. Okay? It's more like you're an exception. If there may be others who come after or before you. Don't make it everything about you.
me stronger. The decision of the CAS will not hold me back. I will once again rise above and continue to inspire young women and athletes in South Africa and around the world. We also saw the South African Sports Confederation and Olympic Committee criticize the decision, telling the AP, we maintain that the rules are ill thought and will be a source of distress for the targeted female athletes. And the official Twitter account for the government of South Africa quoted the former Minister of Tourism in a tweet who said, you remain our golden girl, Caster Semenya. What you have done for our people and girls is enormous. You have flown our flag high. You have united a nation and inspired a rural girl. And we also saw the World Medical Association calling on doctors all over the world to not implement the rule, with the association's president saying, "We have strong reservations about the ethical validity of these regulations. They are based on weak evidence from a single study, which is currently being widely debated by the scientific community."
He didn't say it was debunked, though.
On the other side of this, we also saw the IAAF celebrating their win, writing a statement saying the IAAF is grateful to the Court of Arbitration for Sport for its detailed and prompt response to the challenge made to its eligibility regulations for the female classification for athletes with differences of sex development. And it wasn't just the organization, we also saw support from some female runners. Female runners like Paula Radcliffe, the world record holder in the women's marathon. She reportedly said she respected CAS's decision for ruling that women's sport needs rules to protect it, but that's what happened, those are the reactions, what happens now? Well, Sweeney will have the opportunity to appeal the case to Switzerland's Supreme Court, which has jurisdiction.
I'm reading chat. I'm done reading chat. No one said anything. 'Cause I'm a loser. YouTube is getting really shitty.
Let's start with the poi eater and the pineapple head.
The grifter and liar.
You know, he's not going to show up today to the hearing, the House hearing, for a number of reasons. He doesn't have to. Jerry Nadler has his panties in a bunch. These are the two guys that are going head to head, and look at fucking Nadler. Does that not just say it all about that fucking? Exactly. Then you got Elton John on the left, the straight Elton John. They're going toe to toe. Look at Nadler. He's got an air hose in the back of his neck. That's not what he looks like now. Now he looks like a deflated fucking parade float. But anyways, he's not showing up, and Nadler says, this administration has the nerve to dictate our procedures. And it's another case of them stonewalling. The whole Barr put the whole report out there for the public to see with necessary redactions. So they're hardly fucking stonewalling, number one. Number two, you're going to have staffers asking the questions. And number three, Mr. Nadler, the executive branch and the legislative branch co-equal as far as government goes.
That's what I was saying. Then the courts can rule and they can pick a side.
Branches, if you will. So quit your fucking whining. What else? Nadler said he would try to hold Barr in contempt of Congress if it doesn't turn over the unredacted Mueller report. Good luck with that, fatty. You guys are a fucking disgrace. 2 years of a hoax and a fake investigation, $25 million. I don't know how many lawyers involved, all of them Democrats on Mueller's side, even though he's a Republican. But some of the dirtiest, most hateful fucking lawyers, and they have audio of
Mueller's as much as a Republican as much as I'm a Democrat.
Shit that we went over 2 years ago, and they don't like the findings. Mueller was bent out of shape a little bit about the memo that Barr put out right after the report came out. He thought didn't put it into context, but he said he didn't like the way the media handled it. Well, how is that Barr's fault? I don't think they could be any more transparent. But the bottom line is the fucking thing is out there for the public. You can. That's why this is all unnecessary. They got nothing. The Dems have nothing to run on. They have no new ideas. Still hell-bent on fucking hating Trump. It's embarrassing. Did you see CNN's ratings? Dropped 26%.
You mean, okay.
This week, same time last year. How is it not 86% or 96%? How many dumb fucking people do we have in this country? Anyways, that's really all I wanted to say about that because I'm getting tired of it. But he was in front of the House committees yesterday, and that was a real friggin' circus as they had their fangs out for William Barr, calling him a patsy and for Trump, and he's taking the fall, blah, blah, blah. He's not supposed to represent the president. He's supposed to represent the American people as the attorney general, which is what he did. He did his job the way he's supposed to do it.
Yes, he's
Here is
supposed to
some of
protect the president, no matter who
grilling,
the president is. Let's
that,
pretend Trump was a black guy named Obama.
Subject to yesterday, and let's start with the poi eater.
Mic test.
Pineapple head.
Mr. Barr, now the American people know that you are no different from Rudy Giuliani or Kellyanne Conway or any of the other people who sacrificed their once decent reputation for the grifter and liar who sits in the
And
Oval
you're a big bitch.
He's a malignant cunt.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. Is there a colder fish in the ocean than that Hirono? What a hate. Don't show a nice picture of her. Fuck her. That's the one time she smiled, you know? That's why I never went to Hawaii, because I have friends that went to Hawaii and they say, yeah, they don't really, you can feel the anti-white male sentiment. And I can see if they vote in bitches like that. What a cold fish. She makes Valerie Jarrett look like fucking Marilyn Monroe. She's just a hateful, I don't know what happened to her as a kid or whatever, but she comes right out, opening statement.
Her
calls
daddy
him,
wouldn't
you know,
stop diddling
fucking
her.
lie like the president.
He's making me
As
listen.
opposed to your
Yes, I
side.
did.
We just went through a 2-year hoax, spying on a guy running for president. We'll get to Obama eventually, I hope. But she had more to say in between bites of poi.
The last question that I have in 17 seconds. Do you think it's okay for a president to offer pardons to people who don't testify against him, to threaten the family of someone who does? Is that okay?
When did he offer a pardon to someone?
I think you know what I'm talking about. Please.
What do you mean?
Please, Mr. Attorney General, give us some credit for knowing what the hell is going on around here with you.
Not really. To this line of questioning.
So
listen, you've slandered this man.
What I sort of want to know is how do we get to this point?
I do not think that
how do
I'm
we get to the
slandering
point where
anyone.
All I can say,
Mr. Chairman, I am done. Thank you very much.
And you
are
slandered
done.
this man.
She's a malignant cunt.
I'll say it again. What happened to picture-on-picture, fellas, no? For that? Come on, Jace. You got a fucking new apartment. You're going to have broads all over the place. Your mother's scared shitless. Anyways, so that Hirono, how do you get voted in? Hey, guys, when you get done cleaning the semen off your mouse pad, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube page and click on the little notification bell. That'll tell you when we go live and when we put clips up and stuff like that. Also, go to nickdip.com and sign up at Patreon.
Why don't you upload fucking whole shows anymore? Let's get some content rolling over here. I'm fucking bored.
Timing does not trump minority rights, and there's not a member on this dais that should say it's not. And freshman members or anybody else who's here for the first time, that's not how this committee works.
The Mueller report.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
His conduct before Congress. Nor does it conclude our efforts
I seek recognition
to
for a
compel
parliamentary
production
inquiry.
of the entire report and its underlying material. The information without delay. The hearing.
Mr. Standing for the question inquiry. After almost 6.
One month ago, I was just
running for president this cycle. I just have to say that.
Why is he not in prison?
What did you say? I
David
can't hear him.
Duke
Can you
is
put
so.
the mic closer to him?
I do have to say
genuinely
though,
can't hear him.
it's so marginalized. It's so minimal. The overemphasis, over-conversation,
weird that we even talk
over-focus.
about it.
These
I mean,
people
it
are
honestly is
losers.
weird.
These people have no life. These people are not in mainstream society. These people are not what people try to make it seem.
And this is why I say when you heard me say earlier that I hate when us, we are the most privileged black people in the entire world, right? We are, plain and simple. The most privileged black people in the entire world live in America today. It's insulting to me because when my grandfather used to tell me the stories about the real KKK, the ones that would come on horseback and shoot into his home in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and do you want to know what my grandfather says about them? He says, and when they used to come around, my dad used to shoot back at them boys. Such an empowering thing when he talks about them. He talks about them like they were children. He tells me stories about when the black mothers would come out and take the hoods off and yell at them and say, "Is that you, Peter," or whatever their names were? And then when you come up and you say it like, "What are we gonna do about the KKK members?" You're not afraid of them. I know you're not afraid of the KKK members.
I'm not afraid of them.
You're not. You're not. So why are we talking about them? Why are you even giving them the air or the conversation? Because you once saw them 10 years ago.
All America did was
walking down the
change
street.
laws, and all they did was have to change their methods. They could have just changed
But
their methods.
what did they do? Did they shoot and kill? I generally am trying to understand, where are the KKK? Are they killing black people? Because if they are, they definitely should be prosecuted.
Laws against murder.
I think that the issue, the thing he's trying to bring forward, is that when you look at the historical...
Is that there are people out there who are bad and they exist, and we need the right to kill people if we think they have bad thoughts. That's what she's going for.
Treatment of organizations or groups of people of color, whether it's Black Lives Movement or Black Panther and so on. The moment that they were demonized, they were listed as terrorist organizations. Why has it never been that the Ku Klux Klan was demonized or listed as a terrorist organization?
They were never demonized? The Ku Klux...
By the government? Has the government
because
ever
they were
listed
the
them?
government. They were Democrats.
Well, yeah, this is not true. The
like,
Oklahoma City bombing was categorized as a terrorist act, so you're incorrect there.
So
the Fort Hood massacre was terrorist.
I was a combat engineer. I was trained by some of the same people who knew the guy. So
what does that mean?
So let me ask you a question: Was the Waco complex considered a terrorist organization by the FBI? Yes or no? The Branch Davidians.
It should be.
Oh, but they were white. You said that never happened against white supremacist organizations.
No, I said the Ku Klux Klan. I'm talking about the Klan in
It is a similar type organization. The Branch Davidians. The Branch Davidians were a misinterpretation
for almost the entirety of America.
The Branch Davidians were a white supremacist organization.
As a terrorist organization.
Guys, I'm going to wrap this up because if I genuinely thought that you thought the KKK was alive and well, we'd have a full, long conversation about this. What we're talking about here is that you want to ignore, and this is what genuinely frustrates me so much about the black community. You want to ignore all the really big issues that we should be talking about, okay? We all know what's going on in our communities. We just had another rapper that was gunned down. We know about black-on-black crime. We know about abortion. We know about the education system. We know about Antifa, which is the closest thing that I've seen to white supremacy since I've been alive, is Antifa, which is the modern-day KKK.
I agree with you on all of those.
That show up,
I agree.
okay? And
I
the
agree.
media
Those are the
demonize
biggest
it. But
issues.
instead you want to talk about something that you have to pull your memory from 10 years ago
Can I
when
ask
they
you
were walking
something?
down Texas.
What do you think started black-on-black crime? It hasn't always been a...
Whoa, let's see where we're going here. I could say some things, but I won't.
Big problem is what you're talking about. What do you think
I
started?
already told you what I thought.
What do you think
Father Absinthe started black-on-black crime.
This is really high
told you
energy.
that.
What started the biggest father absence in America in the black community?
Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1964.
Was he not American government? That's what I'm saying.
And let's do a president.
Look,
And
what I'm
let's do a
saying is
president.
I don't
Who
really
do I
care.
think is
I don't
still
care about
encouraging?
Democrats
Who
and
is still
Republicans.
Mic check.
Father Absinthe.
Democrats and
Democrats.
Republicans are the same. It's the same government. That's what y'all.
It's the same
like.
thing. Oh, yeah, the
Other
Uniparty.
people literally to divide us because
I respect the Uniparty black pill, actually. Like, you know, rich people on the left and rich people on the right are going to watch out for rich people's interests. Okay? Huh.
No. Democrats and Republicans are the same.
I think you and I agree on the fact that there are problems. What we disagree with is that I am telling you that the left started it, the Democrats started it, and the Democrats are still perpetuating it. And the way that they're able to perpetuate it is by getting you to sit up here and ask me a ridiculous question about the goddamn KKK when we should be talking about father absence and abortion and black-on-black crime. Thank you for your question.
Mic drop.
Democrats started.
We got to move on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Your time is up.
I have a question, but if I could say one thing real quick. Charlie, you mentioned the Branch Davidians were white supremacists.
So they were classified by
clown?
certain people as a misinterpretation of Christian
so
theology for being white supremacists, but they were categorized mostly as a terrorist organization by what they were
I
doing
think
in
you're
Waco.
mixing that with Ruby Ridge.
I'm sorry, what?
You're mixing it with Ruby Ridge, which is the same period.
I'm sorry, you have to talk slower.
You're mixing it up with Ruby Ridge, which was the same
I
period.
I could be,
because the Branch Davidians were like Filipino and white. And
I'm talking about the individuals in Waco, Texas, where the FBI categorized them as a terrorist organization.
But my question's not about that. So I guess.
Okay, fine.
But that's not.
We can amend that later on.
Yeah. Charlie, you have come out pretty strong on the side of, Israel and Trump and his recognition of the Golan Heights.
Yes.
This was a week after a company called Genie Energy was granted exclusive mineral rights to the Golan Heights.
A coincidence, surely. Trump would initiate something based on, man, I wish I'd got that. Dude, invite. Dude, get that kill. Oh my God. Thank you. We're gonna share some kills together. Oh, nice. Dude, he's got the whirlwind axe. He knows what's up. I'm gonna need these. I mean, my current ones are pretty good, but I like the Spirit better. So, I need... Let me turn off fucking caps lock. I'm like an animal. I need, let me drop a heal on this dude. I need 5 more bitches. This guy. He's loving me. I'm like a stand-up over here. Waka waka wow. Dude, what the hell sounds am I making? Am I just a clown? I said that before. I'm looping. Let's see what this content is.
On their board are Charles Kushner.
What the fuck?
Mary Landrieu, Jacob Rothschild, Larry Summers, and Rupert Murdoch. Both left and right names.
Oh my God! I totally just got an upgrade!
How much of the U.S.'s policy of bipartisan Zionism is simply political corruption?
Can I ask you a question?
Shoot.
When did Israel take back the Golan Heights? Do you know the history of it?
It was never theirs. They didn't take it back. They
sorry,
invaded
what?
it. Take back? They invaded it.
Okay, so there's you do know that there are synagogues dating back to 2,800 years ago in Golan Heights, which would by definition be a Jewish religious convening place, right?
There's a mosque in Jerusalem. That's irrelevant.
Well,
it was built on top of a temple.
Yeah, it was built on top of the holy side of the temple that King David built. But that's.
Oh, sorry,
but I do have a question. You do realize that Islam was formed in year 600, more or less, and Judaism's 3,000 years old, and Israel is critical to the Jewish faith? That you agree with that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. So the Golan Heights, you have 2,800-year-old synagogues, and that would be reclamation of the land. And
that doesn't mean government, you fucking dingbat, though. I'm sorry, Charlie Kirk. Just because a building was somewhere doesn't mean it belongs to a government. That's not how fucking casus bellis work. Nice try. I've played enough fucking Europa Universalis. I know y'all are casus bellis. That's not how any of this works.
The history of it says I'll update you on it.
Wait, so anywhere that a synagogue is Jewish land, you're 100% on that.
Well, no,
anywhere
no.
that synagogue
It's
ever
the
in history.
restoration of Judea and Samaria, which is very, very, very well outlined in the Torah. Let me build it up.
Wait, no.
for you. So
Torah,
Judea and
right?
Samaria, yeah, the Torah. That's the book the Jews study
Yeah,
and
but
revere as their holy
they
book.
hate Samaritans, I thought.
I'm sorry,
like,
what?
They really hate Samaritans.
So yeah,
I don't think
Judea-
they should get, like, the Jews who live there.
Judea and Samaria. So if I can build it out for you if you'd like. So in Golan Heights, northeast Israel, it was right after the Six-Day War when 6 different Arab countries decided to invade Israel on their most holy day.
I don't
On
care.
the day of Yom Kippur at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
That actually is pretty
Syria,
mean.
Lebanon, Egypt, Jordan, and a coalition of other Arab countries together decided to hit Israel when they were...
Did the 6-Day War, huh? Let's see who was in on that. 6-Day War. You type in 6 day. Because on the 7th day they prayed. Belligerents. Israel, Syria, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq. So Iraq was in on it, but not our friend the UAE and SA. They're out of it. So mostly, Oh, let's get back to the content.
most vulnerable. And so what did Israel do? They pushed back for geopolitical reasons past Capernaum, past the Sea of Galilee, into what is now called the Golan Heights, where it has always been Jewish land. That has been Jewish land for 2,800 years.
But they
this
took it
idea
back,
of
though.
British
It
colonial
belonged to somebody
Syria,
else.
that's a made-up country. That is Jewish land, and it always has been. And the idea of Israel is that, first and foremost, there are 41 Muslim majority countries in the world. Why can't the Jews have one? Why can't the Jews have a single country that they can call home? 2, Jerusalem and Israel mentioned over 450 times in the Holy Book of the Torah. 450 times. In Jewish history, Israel is more than just a place. It is critical to their religion. It is critical to their
Yeah,
practice.
it's a country,
Arguably,
but it doesn't
most-
mean their
it is the
country
most
gets to
impactful
expand.
Tradition that has built Western civilization. If you look at the great thinkers of the Enlightenment, many of them drew inspiration from the Torah. So yes, the reclamation of the Golan Heights, no.
Yeah, but what we're saying is, does the Torah say that Israel gets to invade Egypt? I mean, how big was it?
It was not for some mineral deal that you're haphazardly putting it back. It is the reclamation of rightfully earned Jewish land that was stolen from them by the Syrians many, many years ago.
How many of your...
How many years ago was it stolen? And hey, we shouldn't be playing that type of fucking politics, though, Charlie Kirk, because I know this is really bad content. Okay. Whoa, my God! Help me! I'm dying! Help! Thank you. I couldn't have done it alone. I would have fucking died. So anyways, that's how we get world wars. Oh, I want to take back some land. You know, we get Germany. They're like, you know, that some of that land was there's ethnic Germans there, you know? There's ancient German mosques, 2,000-year-old ancient Germanic circles. And the Germans need to reclaim it.
So you're a pretty big Zionist, right?
Oh!
You're a pretty big Zionist, you would consider yourself?
I am a proud Zionist and a
Yes.
Christian and a capitalist and a conservative. We can go on endlessly.
Absolutely, of course. But, like, so you also consider you're American nationalist, right? American guy.
Yeah, I'm a proud American patriot. Yes.
So, like, if there are in LSU, there are Native American burial mounds that are 5,000 years old. Is this Native American territory? Have we violated? I mean, they probably had books. They probably named their mounds 1,000,000 times. Should we leave right now? Because I mean, it's their land.
Well, you should be asking yourself.
Oh, Charlie Kirk is fucking got wrecked. Oh, and I like how Candace complained that let's not be 3 versus 1, but meanwhile it's 3 versus 1 up here.
yourself that question.
I don't live here. I came here to ask you this.
I think you're
I
asking
don't live here. I came here to ask you this.
What? Well, but that question is for yourself. You're posing the question. What are you doing here?
I know. I came here to ask you questions. That's what I'm doing.
So you plan on leaving the country?
I plan on leaving, yes.
Look.
No. You can't flip it on him. We're trying to hold you to your values. You can't hold us to our values.
Was the you do plan on leaving?
I mean, at some point, yeah.
What country are you moving to?
Probably France.
You think do you think France is a better country than America?
I'm going on vacation. I'm not like living there. Christ.
Oh, okay. Do you think there's ever been a better country than America to exist?
Like cosmically, yeah, maybe, but like.
All right, let's be real here.
Evaluate countries.
How about generosity, benevolence?
Okay, see, that's his issue right there. Charlie totally got him. His problem is America sucks compared to utopia.
Benevolence, productivity, entrepreneurial capacity.
I mean, yeah, Luxembourg's got a higher median income. Sweden, Britain, higher median income. That's a pretty good measurement that we're behind in. So
Okay.
yeah, there are better countries than us.
Okay, so you would say that the European...
Have you ever been to Sweden? I was
it's-
just in Sweden, and there is an absolutely crippling amount of political correctness where people are absolutely afraid to say anything. I mean, say absolutely anything.
Yeah, that's an objective measure, right? If we're going by the measure of median income, though, it's better because there's no like.
I mean, I could go
cosmically
endlessly.
better country.
I could go endlessly on why America is the greatest country ever to exist, but here's the funny thing. I bet you won't leave. Because America's the only country in the world that even those who say they hate it refuse to leave.
I don't hate this country.
Ow!
I've never said I hate this country, ever. When did I say that?
Oh, he did it.
Well, so you love America?
Yeah.
And you want to move to France?
Why not? Yeah, it's a cool country.
Which question? Him endlessly rambling is not a question.
What? You said I hate...
Hold up.
Yeah, I was getting sick of
my
that
voice
guy.
is horrible.
Hey.
All right. Hello. Quick thing. I don't want it to be the focus of anything, but I grew up without a father, just me and my grandmother. I'm sorry, me, my grandmother, and my mom. And you know, as someone that ended up okay, definitely not a criminal, definitely not thinking about doing any crime stuff. I always never liked the whole missing father thing. I think you can get by just fine if you have a really strong mother raising you, and I think a lot of people have those. I mean,
No, you
fathers
can.
are
You
important.
can. I don't disagree with you. You can, but we need to stop normalizing that and making it seem like it's something that we should need
All
to
right.
stop fantasizing it. It's really hard. And if
I
your
dig
mom
that.
did it, she did a tremendous job. You should be grateful
Thank
for that.
you.
But please don't make it seem like that's a norm and that's easy.
Got you. All right. Cool.
Yes, you turned out fine, but your mom fucking busted her ass. Because your mom was a strong woman. But statistically speaking, not everybody is.
All right. So for my boy Charlie Kirk, thank you for answering my question out there. I appreciate it. All right. So now I love capitalism. I love the potential for free market. I love America, and I think it's a great place to live. Capitalism made it so. But when people's lives are involved, the cracks begin to show. Socialism won't work, we know that. But I want to see your solution for our healthcare crisis. The prices are coming up and we need to bring them down. I want to see how you solve the
In before Charlie Kirk says deregulate, just remove the government, he goes full libertarian. Dave Rubin's gonna be burr, 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 burr. I know how these guys think.
costs and make this country great like you say, while also not having normal people like me without the right to health.
First off, I love this question because we have tons of issues with the healthcare industry.
All right.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to start because I'm up in a rant because you're absolutely right. It's ridiculous. It's way too expensive, and it's
Oh,
because
I wanted Charlie Kirk to fucking talk. He's like
quid pro quo that
antsy.
exists between the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors, and you can't see what anything costs at all. And you go in to, I don't know, to have a doctor check a cough in a hospital, and you get a bill for $4,000. I've been like literally debating a bill for the last 6 months that I refuse to pay. I don't care if I have to go into debt. I am not paying this bill. So I just wanted I just wanted to lay the groundwork. Go ahead, Charlie.
Well, so here's the thing: is we have a ton of things broke with our American healthcare system. But let's start with the less
the government.
attributed, less talked about. We accumulate the most medical advancements, the most drug breakthroughs, the most cancer-killing
Yes, we should charge the rest of the world for our breakthroughs.
medicine, Open heart surgery was an American invention that's now spread across the world. So we actually have the highest, the best quality. If you can afford it,
Yeah.
we have the best healthcare. So the question is, that's a great admittance. And even objective, people say, wow, if you can afford it, if you're a millionaire, if you're a billionaire, you can get unbelievable treatment. Okay, a natural question is, how do we get more people to access something that only a few people have? Well, that's where the market is amazing at that. And the market works great when you have a finite amount of things. Competition, and entrepreneurs, and transparency. Those are the three things that are needed. So transparency would be one thing I could probably agree with Democrats on, that it's just so screwed up that you can walk into a hospital, you can walk into an emergency room, and no one knows what anything costs.
I agree with that.
You know, consumers deserve to know what things cost. In fact, I think eventually the market will demand it. But we use this example a lot, and I'll use it again just for the sake of people that have not heard it, which is 5 or 6 years ago, actually 8 years ago, there was a decision by insurance companies not to cover LASIK eye surgery, okay?
Oh, yeah.
LASIK eye surgery is very, very precise. You're dealing with a vital organ that all of us use all the time. And so it's obviously something that should not be messed around with. Well, insurance companies said they weren't going to cover it. It became a cash-only business. So it used to cost anywhere between $20,000 to $25,000 per procedure to get that done. Now you can get it as low as $3,000 to $5,000. Almost 80% cost decrease, and the surgery is actually better than ever before. So how did that happen? Well, it's because people knew what things cost and they knew what they were getting out of it. And so first and foremost, everyone should be able to buy health insurance across state lines. It is so important. You can buy auto insurance across state lines. You can buy house insurance across state lines. That creates a market.
Yeah.
Secondly, we need more doctors. We regulate how many doctors we allow through this crony relationship with the American Medical Association.
All right.
Third, you should not always need a doctor present when you get a procedure. A large portion of medical treatment actually could be done by a nurse practitioner. Flus, colds, broken arms, broken legs. Why do you need a doctor to sign off on that? Walk-in clinics at Walgreens are a great market indicator of how things eventually will be. So look, markets have solved so many problems in our society that we take for granted. It'll be no different than healthcare, but right now we don't have anything but a market, and they want to take us in the exact opposite direction. Dave, do you want to comment on that?
I'm with you.
Great.
No, and I'll just add.
Wow, great, Dave. I agree.
To be an argument against.
Dave says
free
he
markets and
agrees.
capitalism, because our healthcare industry is not an example of free markets and capitalism. That's actually
all
the
right.
problem with our healthcare industry. We're not making any decisions as a consumer. We don't know what the prices are. It's more of an example of crony capitalism, if anything else, not something that we're adamantly opposed to.
And I just have one more thing. And yeah, one of your chapter people told me about that LASIK eye surgery. I think it was your president. She's a cool person.
Very good. She's very cool. I agree.
I posed this question as well. So it's about socialized medicine. Why can't we compete with the government? If somehow things turn out and socialized medicine comes in and everyone's paying hella taxes to take care of everyone. Sorry, I have a bad vocabulary, but if everyone's paying taxes
I love it.
yeah, that's what it is. If everyone's paying taxes to, take care of everyone, can the private, medical stuff, if we get there, can't we just compete with the government and still have that lower socialized option at the same time?
Well, first off, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Democratic platform 2020, the tagline is hella taxes. So that's one thing.
I like that.
But yes, you're right, except that already the Democratic candidates right now, Cory Booker and Kamala Harris and a bunch of them, are already saying they will eliminate private enterprise. So I think you're right. Your premise is right. Could we have something that, could the federal government be involved at some level and then let the private marketplace, let some competition get in there? I think most everyone in this room would agree, even people that don't like big federal government programs. But the Democrats are already saying, no. Once we pass this thing, there will be no competition, and that's what the problem is.
We have an example. The Veterans Administration is a mess. It is such low-quality care. This is so important because we have a first-hand example of socialized medicine in our own country. It's essentially our National Health Service, where our heroes and our veterans walk into a VA and they are sometimes not treated and they don't get calls back. We spend $150 billion a year on the Veterans Administration, and most of that money, if you actually go and audit it, most of that money goes towards administration, not actual application of the medical treatment itself.
Oh,
and
joy.
so look, we also have Medicaid in our country, where tens of millions of people are on, which is healthcare for the poor, which is not exactly luxurious healthcare.
I just got dumped from that. Yeah, like last Friday, I lost Medicaid. So wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's broken, right? And that was an attempted program for universal health care. What is it? What are we really talking about here? You need market-based health care. You need health care to work with the same market engine that we enjoy all the same prosperity.
People just want to be able to go into a doctor's office when they're hurt and not have to worry about it.
That's why we're here, right?
Hi, we're just two high school students. We're not really here for like the debate. We just want to know your opinion. So,
it can be argued that even though you guys contribute the success of this nation to capitalism and the Constitution,
Slavery! I'm so sorry for enough headphones. No, that's where they're going. I predicted they're gonna go full slavery on us. All the wealth of our nation comes from slavery. No, slavery was holding us back, actually. Slavery was what made human labor cheap, which is stupid. It's like having a higher minimum wage. Because when you have a higher minimum wage, you get more automation. And slavery is like a really low minimum wage. It's like a 0 minimum wage. And that, as we had more technological advances in farming after slavery ended, because there is a demand to end human labor.
etc., a lot of people can argue that it can be mostly attributed to the labor of the minorities that
Called it.
Nobody can make that argument. No one can make that argument successfully and win.
Okay, so but like, what is your opinion on that?
I mean, fine, make the argument. How many slaves were there in the South? Are you saying the minorities like slavery? Do you think this country was built on slavery?
At least partially, yes.
Okay, how many slaves were there in the South?
Oh, dude, she doesn't want to fucking debate you. She just wants your opinion on that thought. And
I don't know that exact number.
That's the problem, is that you don't know that. This country was not built by slaves. It's a ridiculous argument to make. I understand you're in high school, and I guess that's kind of where you soften this, so I'm not going to go too hard here. But you kind of backed me against the corner here by saying you're in high school. You can't, if you're saying that you don't know the answer to that of how many people in the South actually own slaves, then you shouldn't make the argument that this country was built by slaves.
But I don't think that it's an argument of how many people own slaves, because we do know that the majority of people in the South did not own slaves. However, that's
the argument. The majority of people in the South didn't own slaves. The upper elite echelon of the South owned slaves. Well, 85% of the people in the South didn't have slaves.
So here,
15% had slaves.
It's a great argument. It's okay, and thank you for being here, by the way. It takes a lot of courage to get up, so thank you, first of all. If that argument were to be correct, then let's juxtapose other countries that had slavery even longer than America did.
They still have them in Africa. How's Africa doing as a continent? We can go in any country. They've always had slaves in Africa, and they still have a slave trade in Africa. And all the countries that have it aren't doing great. So if slavery contributes to a productive society, then how come all the societies that have slaves aren't doing amazingly?
Not only is slavery one of the greatest evils in human history, but it actually doesn't make a country richer. It's actually really interesting. So the idea that slavery would actually increase the amount of wealth in society, you actually look at growth rates, things stayed relatively the same in the American South under slavery as far as economic progress or lack thereof. But when you liberate individuals, which is of course based in a market economy, that's where you start to see the wealth creating engine start to accelerate.
Innovation.
Because what's inherent in slavery? You have to control a lot of people a lot of time. So your focus is on controlling and just repetitive labor. It's not on creativity. It's not on taking risks. It's not on empowerment.
The cotton gin was a better option than having slaves pick cotton. So innovation is what drove the society forward. If you really want to talk about it, you're talking about the people like Vanderbilt. Andrew Carnegie. These are the people, the men that built America. J.P. Morgan. It's one of the most. I don't want to say ridiculous, but it's not the right argument to make that this country was built by slaves.
But
It's
also,
not.
nobody's making the argument that America has not done things wrong. But that's why I posed the question to you
Slavery
guys
is wrong.
about your grandparents, and I would pose it to you guys as well. I mean, if you really just think about your grandparents for a second, because think about it, we've done things wrong in America. We had slavery, we had Japanese internment camps, women couldn't vote, gay people could get married. I mean, we could go on and on of the litany of
I
things
still
that have
think
been
we
wrong
should take
throughout
the
time, and
whole
guess
woman
what?
voting thing.
They've consistently been corrected. We've consistently bent. We've consistently bent. Thank you, Charlie. He's my sidekick now. But that really is what it is. That nobody's saying that things have not been bad. No one's saying things have not been perfect. The founders, who you said earlier, the Constitution is the greatest political document of all time. I absolutely agree. Guess what? Many of the founders owned slaves. We have to be able to really understand that they were men of their time, and that nobody's perfect, and that time changes things. So the arc here has bent towards equality and goodness, and I think that's what we have to focus on. Not that there weren't moments throughout time where we did things wrong.
And judges society and how it identifies problems and fixes them. Yeah. And so you can use another example right now. The country.
Yes. So this is what Scott Adams often says. You shouldn't judge people by their mistakes, but how they respond to their mistakes. If they quickly acknowledge and they apologize, that's good. If they make amends, that's good. First thing you do is First thing you do is you end slavery. I guess that's the only way you can really make amends. Otherwise, you get into reparations territory, which is not good.
Brunei, or the country of Saudi Arabia. So if Dave went to Saudi Arabia right now, he'd be killed. No, I'm not exaggerating. This is not a joke. He lands in Riyadh, they would kill him because he's gay. And so their inability to improve over time is not excellence, it's not greatness. Our ability as a country to say, whoa, we're not doing something right here. We have a moral compass that's being violated. How do we fix it? That's a really amazing mark. That corrective mechanism is something that is really beautiful and really exceptional.
Well, I would also say that even if your original premise was correct and America was born out of some sort of evil thing, let's just pretend for a moment that that was correct. The proof is in the pudding now. We have bent towards goodness. So it doesn't, in a weird way, it does not matter, even if the premise that you were offering originally was correct.
Thank you guys for coming tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Your question never mattered. The facts didn't matter.
Oh, sorry. Hey, I just wanted to thank you guys for coming tonight. I appreciate everything you guys have to say. I have a very simple question.
I like that.
I just wanted to know how all three of you wanted to help
Sleep at
people
night.
in general, just not only conservatives, but liberals as well.
I love this question. This
yeah.
is so great. I think personally, I hope that I can just liberate minds. I mean, I think that that's my job, is just to just by existing, by letting people know that a black woman can have conservative principles. It liberates minds on both sides of the aisle. And I hope that, thank you.
My job is to exist.
And
Me too, man. Look at her meaning. What is
to
her
get
life's
people
meaning?
To move towards a more productive conversation to actually fix the issues that we do have. Because the issues that we have in
I hope she
America,
doesn't
as
get a
I said
God
before, are not
complex in
racism,
that.
it's not
Jeez.
sexism, it's not misogyny. I think
I
we
exist, and
have
that's a good thing.
Entire groups of minorities that are suffering from a tremendous
boy.
sense of low self-confidence. And not realizing that they can have a piece of the American dream if they start to believe in themselves. What I'm selling every single day is self-confidence.
Thank you.
Well, first off, I love the question, and this is why on my show I try to focus on ideas more than specific policies, because I want people to understand the broad sense of how we go about doing things.
I'm a fan of your show. I gotta admit, it's great work.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So I would say I want to defend the very principles that have led me here to this very moment, where I can speak my mind openly and freely in front of some people that I agree with and some people that I disagree with. In my family, we lost members of my family on both sides due to the Holocaust. I'm gay. I understand
Look how prosecuted I am. Identity politics.
Sure that everyone, regardless of your skin color or religion or sexuality or gender or any of it, can live free. And you know what will allow people to live free? It's the things that we've been talking about here. It's limited government. It's the right to control your own destiny. It's individual laws. that govern as you as an individual and not as a collective. And those are the things we have to fight for. And not only do we have to fight them, but you guys are growing up in a particularly unique time. I'm not that much older than you, but when I was in college, nobody was really thinking about this. I was smoking a lot of pot and playing Sega Genesis.
Wow.
Okay? Yeah, so I guess I am that much older than you. And I'll get these guys on weed eventually. It just takes time. But the point is, let's take the libertarian approach, Charlie. I know we'll get you there. We'll get you there.
You have a freedom to make a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the point is, that you guys are living in a truly unique time where it feels like the entire chessboard has been tossed upside down. And the leaders, the people, that your parents, grandparents, it seems like everybody isn't sure how to chart a course forward. So it's on you guys in a particularly unique way. That sounds like a lot of pressure, but that's sort of the beauty of the adventure of life. So whatever you want to do in this world, you can do it.
In this world of Warcraft.
Maybe somebody will have more advantages than you going, right at the beginning, but if you bust your ass and you're good and you're talented and you're honest and
Come on,
forthright,
fucking flay some more libtards.
do it, and that's what I want to defend.
These are all going to be people agreeing now. Let's go back to the beginning.
The way I think we can help people, and this is so important, and
the way that they're able to perpetuate it.
His father absence in America in the black community.
Lyndon Baines Johnson. You were not Democrat.
This question is specifically for Candace. About a year ago, I think.
Yeah, Candace.
You did a video for PragerU.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was entitled "Dear Celebrities," something along those lines, and
Dear celebrities, no one cares what you think.
Yeah. And you.
1 month ago, I was just like you. I was scouring the internet and the television, just trying to find answers, and everyone kept promising that they had them and weren't delivering. I'm not asking for any money, and I'm not trying to sell you anything. This isn't a gimmick, and it won't cost you a penny. You want to reclaim these few simple things from your life.
If it was so easy, why didn't
Obama between national identity? Therefore, some countries opportunity in raising their standards by
my name is
and not treat them according to a group identity when you're explicitly qualifying them according to a nationality. So you think that discriminating people according to race or ethnicity or your virtues or your values or specific things, it's entirely wrong, but you think it's correct to discriminate them according to a specific nationality, a visa, a green card, a paper, and to exclude half of the world for a better opportunity in raising their standards by living and emigrating somewhere else abroad. Can I ask you a question?
Okay, so this guy is... I don't know. Let's try to understand this question. What was his point?
That's good. And not treat them according to a group identity when you're explicitly qualifying them according to a nationality. So you
treat them like a group identity even though you exclusively grid this a nationality. How can you do the right to the world because they don't have a piece of paper?
think that discriminating people according to race are no, I oppose. Do I believe that it exists? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. So do you believe that there's a paper and to exclude half of the world for a better opportunity in raising their standards by living and emigrating somewhere else abroad? Can I ask you a question? Do you believe in national identity? No, I oppose. Do I believe that it exists? Yes. Do I oppose it? Yes. So
he doesn't believe in the nation state.
do you believe there's a difference between the set of laws in the United States or UK and Saudi Arabia? Yes. So there is a difference between national identity. Therefore, some countries have better ideas and some countries have worse ideas. Is the culture monolithic or no? It is not. So those people from Saudi Arabia, when they migrate here to the UK, right? To
Okay,
the
but
UK,
they believe
get
gays.
better
Sorry
cultures.
to cut you off, but they believe gays should be thrown off of buildings, right?
No.
So, what do you mean? No. Yes, they do.
That is wrong.
Yes, they do.
Correct.
So
yes,
so,
they do. They execute homosexuals in Saudi Arabia. I do agree, and you're correct in your analysis. Why is it wrong to immigrate a group of people from Saudi Arabia into the United Kingdom? Because you'll have 150 million people at the doorstep of the United States yesterday. Because beacons of freedom must, the reason is, look, you must have sensible immigration policy, or else in the United States. You think that the government sucks for everything, but you believe that the central planified government immigration is good. It's bad for commerce.
First off,
it's bad
slow
for
down.
everything,
Slow
but
down.
it's good
We're
for
not in a rush
immigration.
tonight. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Okay. I'm going to answer what you're saying. Okay. The idea that you just want to have open borders where you just acknowledge the first thing that I said, which is that, yes, in Saudi Arabia, they believe women should be covered from head to toe. They just got the right to drive. They have to have They can't vote, right? You have to have a male signature to enter in and out in certain places. You can't leave the country without a guardian, right?
The description of a problem is
It's
not
a
a
yes or no
solution.
question.
Yes.
It's a yes or no question. We're getting
Describing
there.
a problem does not justify
I haven't. I
solution.
didn't give you a solution, so I don't know why you're cutting me off. We're having a discussion. We're not in a race. A race. Take a deep breath. So you agree with that? All that's a fact of what's going on in Saudi
That is a
Arabia.
fact. That is
At the
correct.
same time, you believe that in our country, which we believe in none of that in Western civilization, that I would not be able to wear this. I actually would not be able to speak here tonight if I was in Saudi Arabia. Okay, but you are now saying that in America we should open our borders and let people that have that belief, have that archaic belief, flood into our country, which is we have a democracy, so they would be able to then vote laws, right, into place. You think that we should allow that, and we should ignore the fact that everything that they want is against our civilization and what we believe.
Because you're assuming that people have a monolithic Unitarian view, and that person has only suffered to statism and Islamism and negative communities and lack of freedom.
You're saying
of
a bunch of
independence
words,
are
but
not
you're
gonna
not.
have the same reasoning
Can I ask
in
a
another
question of
one.
you? How many refugees do you have in your apartment?
How many
God,
do you have
fucking got him. I hate that argument, Charlie.
working in your company?
We're against it.
Actually,
We're against it. We
have lots
believe in
of immigrants,
borders.
But you're a hypocrite. Why don't you
We're
bring a lot of
ideologically
refugees?
consistent.
You want to bring in the world's problems, bring them into Western society. Bring in
that's not
Yemenis
what's wrong.
refugees. Here's the problem. You want open borders until it might affect your lifestyle.
No, I want open borders because it capitalistically, for the economy, for the free markets, it creates a new class of group of people whose families are going to be better in the second generation. Herself, she changed her personality from being a labor voter into a conservative.
I was never in a Labor Party. I'm me?
Not you, the other lady.
Oh, okay.
The lady that is next to you. People can change their behavior, their attitudes, their skills, their values through the presentation of new and better ideas. Why not give them, everyone, a chance?
Why don't
from
they do it in
Saudi
their own
Arabia?
country?
It's impossible to be the opposition in Saudi Arabia. They kill you. They murder you. They attack you. They're
there's
living
a-
in Honduras.
So
in
national
Venezuela.
identity matters. Ideas matter.
Ideas
Therefore,
matter, not nationality.
National identity is embedded in ideas. All men are created equal. All cultures are not created equal.
The culture is not it's not an intrinsic value of yourself. Individuals can have multiple cultures, and those cultures would be better reflected within a free.
No, people have one personality that they inherit from their culture.
Market of ideas, of people,
We have
and
that
of everything.
here now. If you have limitless immigration, you would have 100 million people in the UK and the US, which first of all would be a drain on natural resources, public utilities. What you're proposing is
That's welfare state.
is
Eliminate
So
it.
radical.
What you're proposing is almost more unrealistic than the utopianism of Jeremy Corbyn. I just have
It's
to
really
say.
radical.
I'm a very capitalistic former CEO of 3 companies, blockchain and Bitcoin entrepreneur.
You got a lot of
Got
money,
lot
man. You
lectures.
should bring in 10
Sounds like he's a corporatist. He just wants to make money.
Yemenis refugees from the Yemeni Civil War.
You
You got money, do
no,
it.
It's not about funding some of the. You're confusing welfare state against other people. You say
No,
how
the
many
point
people
is
do you
you're a
have in your house?
hypocrite,
That's
is the
illogical.
point.
That's absolutely illogical. Charlie, how can you say those kind of
Because
things?
I live the
I
very
don't want
ideas
them
that I
there.
espouse. You don't.
Of course I do. I'm
Yeah,
a
how many
capitalist.
refugees have you brought to the UK?
How many immigrants are you having in your
I
own
want
company?
controlled immigration. You
I
don't.
I don't want
I live
controlled
everything I
immigration.
believe. You don't.
Centralized. You think that government sucks
Next
for
question
everything,
now.
but not for
I
immigration.
am not an anarchist. You
Neither
are an
am I.
unrealistic anarchist utopian.
I am a capitalist.
It's
I give
unrealistic.
lectures to economic affairs.
If you
Oh my God. He just doesn't believe in borders. He's a capitalist without borders.
have no
I'm a
control,
Hayekian.
if you have no control over your borders and you can't control the flow of people that are coming into a single country, you've got
That's
to
great.
think about how big the UK actually is. We're already struggling to house people as it is.
The director of the
Immigration
Institute
has
of Economic
contributed
Affairs thinks
to
that you can bring
largely
400
to
million
our growth
people into the
How's that
UK.
working in Germany, by the way? Is it working?
Oh, got him!
I think it will.
You
Yes.
think it's working well in
Yeah.
Germany?
I think that immigrating 1 million Syrian refugees
it
into
working?
Germany is
How about
possible.
Sweden?
Germany is one of the rape capitals of Europe. You've seen it in Sweden as well when you don't control your borders.
Oh shit, they brought a rape!
Bad things happen. It doesn't work in Germany. People want Merkel to go. People didn't like Merkel. They don't want her.
Advocating for the majority is not a solution. Not because 99% of the people
That's
want
not
something
true.
or against it. It's not. It
Actually,
does not
no, I'm
make it
good.
correct.
Can you give me an example where limitless immigration has worked? No, of course not.
Well, Liberland.
You live in utopianism.
I'm trying. You are an anti-capitalist.
Next.
Thank you for being wrong tonight. We appreciate it.
Boom snap. Dude, that's fucking a dick
Didn't need
move.
to shout at him. He was
Thank
just
you for
saying
being wrong tonight.
Disagreements?
Disagreements, you're wrong. Come on.
Disagreement?
Kirk,
Oh, then,
Mr.
sorry.
Kirk.
Disagreement.
God, you should become a
Hi there, it's a pleasure to get the chance to ask you a question. So Turning Point USA is very, very pro-Trump. And I just wanted to ask you a question with regards to Trump and his popularity. So a lot of what made Trump popular is how he's appealed to certain demographics who feel that their jobs are being taken away. So Trump's very anti-globalist in that way. My criticism of that would be, and this is based off me trying to understand more free market capitalism myself in the past 6 months, is it while Trump might be doing very, very well for the economy at the moment, are his policy decisions in terms of protecting jobs and having trade wars with other countries, is that not ultimately going to have a negative effect on Americans further down the lines, in such that, so the argument that Thomas Sowell might make is that with greater globalism, you have the opportunity with lower tariffs to make sure that the average cost of basic food in shops is lower for the average American, or if there are tariffs on, say, steel, to protect the steel worker jobs of Americans in the United States, is that not going to have a massive impact on, say, the car industry when they're having to pay substantially more for the tariffs? So how do you feel about Trump's policy with regards to what knock-on effect it will have on America in future years?
So one of the biggest misnomers is...
Ultimately, I'm going to do a little Trump apologism here and say Trump's thing is it's a strategy. It's not a long-term plan. It's to get them to become 0-0. Because right now they have tariffs on us. We have nothing on them.
The idea that Trump has started trade wars. If you actually look at the deals he's signed, he's opened and liberated more markets for U.S. goods to be sold. In order for there to be free trade, you just can't be able to buy what you want to buy. You should also be able to sell your products as well. And one of the biggest ripoffs is what the EU has done to U.S. ability to sell our goods and services into the European Union. You ever notice when you go through Germany or go through France, there's very little American cars? Because that's the tariffs that the EU puts on Ford, Chrysler, Cadillac, so on and so forth. Trump has liberated Southeast Asian markets to buy billions of dollars of coal, billions of dollars of Boeing 737 jets. And the trade deals that he's done has largely been in a negotiation tactic to allow U.S. goods to be sold around the world. This is also why the U.S. is now the largest net exporter of natural gas in the world, and actually exports more.
Who the fuck is beating their microphone?
With China, it's a lot more complex. I actually support economic warfare against China. I think China is the great enemy of freedom around the world, and that Russia is a sidebar compared to what China's doing against free people all across the world. We must take them very, very seriously. Anything you want to expound on that? Okay.
Dave Rubin.
George, find someone who disagrees with us.
Who disagrees?
We got one here.
Give us a victim that we will be belligerent with.
It's more of a criticism than a disagreement.
Great.
You tricked us.
What can I do for you? See you around. Hello.
Oh, look at this. This quest is already done.
Have a good one.
What does he want me to get now? Where do these things drop? Oh, over there. So we're at step 7, 8. Some dirt next to his camp. There we go. Go to the raptor spot and clear it for XP. At the raptor area, accept the escort quest. Escort Stinky Ingaz. Alright, we'll try to find some Stinky Ingaz.
So I've been following you, most of you, for a while on social media, and I kind of agree with much of what you have to say. My criticism is, if I was to be very unkind, I would say, at the moment, what do you amount to more than basically a sort of protest movement, if I was being very unkind? Because the direction of travel seems to be that the sort of left has overtaken the institutions, so education, politics, and the media. It's quite a long, hard road back from there. So I kind of enjoyed the Brexit vote, and I was quite pro-Trump, but I'm not sure if the overall direction of travel is in the correct direction. So how do we change the direction of travel, and what are you guys doing to do that?
Doing this.
What do you mean by direction of travel?
Well,
that wasn't a criticism.
The left seems to have comprehensively taken over the institutions of education, politics, and the media, and now this identity politics dogma is affecting private corporations. It's a long way back from there. What are you doing? What do we do?
What we're doing right here. I mean, the direction of travel.
I don't like this question.
More than half the country's conservative, but nobody wants to say anything because they're
Based on in America, we work here as well. There is nothing for conservatives. Of what 20 I want.
Wanstead, which is my constituency.
Western civilization.
Who's got the mic? Got a disagreement? Yes? No?
He's got a great beard.
I'm the chairman of the local Conservative Party right here. So welcome to my part of the world. I don't know if you know that Leighton Wanstead, which is my constituency, was Winston Churchill's constituency. I'd also like to point out, if you see so many areas here are still empty, this area took the highest bombing of any part of Britain in the Second World War.
Okay.
It was destroyed here, and we rebuilt our country 60, 70 years ago.
Huh.
When I was a student,
Okay.
Street, canvassing.
Yeah, I need to see some arguments, okay?
Well, holy shit. Color me genuinely surprised. So, a lot of you probably know about the backlash surrounding the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah, because it looks
This shot
stupid.
right here, which I've already aptly, I think, described as furry blue Richard Simmons Super Saiyan Phase 3. It's just something about the humanoid proportions are a little too close to human. Just the small hands, the small feet. And then the biggest thing of all is the face. And then this shot right here is oh my god. This is actually, I've never frozen Sonic in this frame. This is really the stuff at Nightmares. If Sonic and Chucky had a baby,
oh my
this
god.
would be what would spawn from that. I'm not gonna go
That
through
is
all of it
legit
again.
furry.
I think made myself very clear in the last two videos on this topic. I think a lot of people have agreed that Sonic's design is just bafflingly terrible. Fortunately, if we go to this page right here, you'll
I've
see
read
a tweet
it.
by none other than Jeff Fowler, who is the director
Of
the
art?
upcoming Sonic movie. It would seem as though he's actually been listening to feedback. It would seem as though it's actually reached his ears. It's actually affected his disposition. And here's what he had to say. Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It is going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. #Sonic movie.
Why'd you think this would fucking fly?
I'll be honest with you, I sincerely wasn't expecting a direct response from the director. I wasn't expecting that they'd actually commit themselves towards changing the design. I thought, you know, there is enough time, right? I mean, from here to November, they must have the capabilities to go back and redo.
It takes like 2 weeks to
if they
render.
wanted to. But I didn't know if the executives cared. I didn't know if the director cared, because to me, when you fail to design an iconic character like Sonic, when you fail to this level, it tells me, you know, cash grab. It tells me you don't care. It tells me you just want to get this out there.
Good day to you.
Without consideration of the fans, of
That's what I was saying.
the character, its history. So it really brings me great pleasure to see that
Great
Jeff Howell actually
pleasure?
responded that he's actually committing himself
Ultimate
towards changing the
pleasure.
design, because it is in my opinion that if you make Sonic's design good, you can see that trailer under a whole new light. It still looks generic. They're still bringing in the military, which is baffling. I wish it would be more fantastical, like how Sonic, like the guy's background right here. Look at this, right? I mean, you don't have to have it be super realistic. It doesn't have to take place in the human world, but it is what it is. The trailer, I think, could be something that, albeit generic, looks fun if you just change Sonic's design. If you just make him look decently like the actual character. I get the feeling that if you just fix this right here, a lot of people, even though this movie doesn't look like it'll be the best, even if you have a decent Sonic design, at least people might be able to have a good time, know what they're getting themselves into when they go watch this movie and watch Jim Carrey. Dr. Eggman. This right here. Because that's the only thing that looks decent about this movie. Now, I'm not gonna declare victory yet. We have to actually wait and see what the new design will look like. But I hope that Jeff draws heavily from the internet, because in just one day after the original trailer launched, they have done some incredible work. I've showed some stuff before, like this artwork right here by Amy Ueda. This is the original art, and then Larry here found a version without the gap here. That's about the only change they made. Either way, this or this looks good. Looks a whole lot like cute 2D Sonic. This is another popular one, which shows a full body shot where Sonic is shorter, where the proportions are better, the eyes are better. Another artist made the following artwork, and somebody else put it side by side with one of the shots from the movie. And again, the difference is nice and big.
Yeah, what
the
they
big
do with the body?
differences here are the
Looks
eyes,
fat.
right? The sleeves and the gloves. That's really appropriate. The body is small and round rather than Richard Simmonsy. The fur here is sort of that cream color rather than white up here. And the shoes, it's a subtle detail here, but you can notice here
They're
the
blocky.
shoes are kind of Nike's red shoes, weirdly human looking, versus here they actually look like Sonic's actual shoes. So this is another perfect rendition by a fan. There's just so much to draw from the internet if you need a point of reference, Jeff. And something to note is that, yes, the backlash has been harsh.
Well
but
deserved.
I feel like we wouldn't be seeing this right here if people didn't ridicule what they saw in the trailer, if they didn't ridicule
Hold up,
this,
back up. What was
ridicule
that like downvote ratio?
what they saw.
Ah! Oh my god, it's whew. Okay, we escorted that dude. Where do I turn that in this escort quest? match it. Whatever.
On the trailer if they didn't ridicule this to the extent that, in my opinion, it does deserve. Because it really is
Pretty shit.
mind-boggling that somebody could approve this and say, yeah, that's Sonic.
Yeah.
All you need to do is put what we're looking at here, this screenshot, side by side.
Yeah.
With the video game caricature, and it.
What are
it
you
should
doing?
become immediately obvious that.
What are you doing? They look nothing alike. It looks like a friggin' blue raccoon. Seriously. The fans don't like it. What are you doing?
This is the stuff of nightmares. It's not just bad design, it's genuinely. It makes you queasy looking at this.
God, I gotta
I'm
stop
sure it
looking
sucks
at it.
for the creative
It's
team
scaring me.
to see all the backlash, all the ridicule, but
Well, 'cause it's
you just needed that reality check.
Mate.
They needed to know that this is horrifyingly bad. So now we're getting the good news that this might be fixed. To what extent? Who knows? I'll celebrate once I see the new trailer with a new design, and if it's close to what others have put together, I think we're going to be in a good place. I think this is very much fixable if they just use the references on the internet, if they adhere to the original design of this iconic character. Not rocket science. I'm sure it's going to take some time to go back to old footage and readjust everything. It's going to take time for the CGI team to do that. I'm not saying that's not a lot of work. I'm just saying the design elements that you have to adjust, there's really not that much to it. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. I wish Jeff the best of luck.
Alright. No friggin' being nice. No one being nice on this stream.
Now, it's rare when I read a horrible game review, but I do admit that maybe, but Days Gone is not a 5. From what I've seen and the reviewers that I trust, I would have thought maybe a 7 is more reasonable. The game has technical issues. It is, quote, yet another zombie. Tell you they're bad. Interesting. Another con. The Deacon relationship with Sarah is flat and unconvincing. Okay, that's reasonable, but it seems like you're just reviewing the story. Many narrative arcs end abruptly or lack interesting or meaningful conclusions. Okay, another story. Critique. The open world activities grow repetitive. Okay, that's a critique of mostly all open world games. And poor pacing takes the excitement out of horde fights. Okay, so basically I think I can summarize how this game review was formulated. They didn't like the story. All right. So none of these cons seem technical at all. They seem very generic drawbacks that someone could do in basically any video game. I could have written these pros and cons without actually playing the game. Now, let's not interact with Kaylee because that, in my experience, is what these people want, but let's instead have a conversation together on how you might have led to such a terrible video game review. Now, Kaylee allegedly finished Days Gone's main story in about 55 hours, splitting time between a base PS4 and a PS4 Pro. 735 days had gone by in the beginning, and 855 had gone by the time she reached the end. Review code was provided by Sony.
Yeah, sorry for leaving the stream. My birds, like, all fell on the bottom of the cage for some reason. I don't know what was up. I had to go check on them, make sure they're okay.
All right, well, so you didn't pay for the game. You played a game you didn't like, and you were more worried about the narrative of the story and what it meant for social justice issues. And why might I be saying that? Well, we're going to get into that.
I knew we were going there.
But you see, Deacon is selfish, and it's simply boring that a game is uncritical of him. Well, it's the zombie apocalypse. I'm pretty sure you are only worried about taking care of yourself in that scenario. That is a totally understandable reaction. And to say that Deacon does not learn anything over the course of the game, and the story is concerned with validating his actions and feelings above all else. When one character urges him not to end somebody in cold blood, Deacon proves that murder is better than mercy. A boozer nearly breaks through to Deacon about letting it go, but Deacon learns something new about Nero and clings to his hope even harder. Deacon also has a policy where he doesn't kill unarmed women, which does not affect the story in any way and goes completely unexamined. There's no introspection here. Deacon is selfish, and it's simply boring that the game is uncritical of him. So it sounds like this writer has a problem with a gruff white male protagonist. I'm not sure. I think, the story is a fair critique, but to focus exclusively on the story, you might want to talk about, some technical issues in the game. After about 10 hours into Days Gone, you're thrown into a hunting tutorial, which is apropos of nothing. The over-the-top libertarian character takes you out with a rifle and shows.
As far as I'm concerned, this review kind of makes me want to play it.
Shows you how to track a deer. Although you've already had a tracking tutorial, you're then tasked with getting more meat for you and your buddy simply because your supply is running low, something you never have to do again. You also don't cook or eat. You can only donate meat to camps around the map and earn a negligible amount of money and earn trust with them. Well, you never really, eating, I guess, is built into Red Dead Redemption, but you aren't like eating a particular meat. You just eat a generic stew. I don't really care that, whatever I bring in, I'm not eating in particular. That seems like a really, really nitpicky thing, but hey, whatever, a fair critique. Things like many Days Gone hunting exist just to be there. Okay, fair. The first act, about 20 hours or so, is set up quite a few narrative arcs. 2 years, I don't want to spoil anything, but the motorcycle is central to everything you do in Days Gone. Getting anywhere, including by fast travel, requires your bike. You might want to save while in the outworld. You better be next to it. Getting off your bike is a matter of your entrance and your exit. You need to stop far enough away from enemies so they don't hear you coming. This is a good thing. That said, gas and other loot do regenerate. Now, if it breaks down or runs out of gas, you're basically screwed. This is true. I think a fair critique of the game is the way that your fuel doesn't last long and you're constantly seeking more fuel. Your bike, maybe you need to trade in to get better mileage. A bike that gets better gas mileage or something. But, outside of that, the review is pretty basic, but I thought the score seemed really low. This is a 7 game, I think. So why might it have gotten
Anyone explain the mechanics to me? I want to know what makes it fun. Why do I want to play it?
5? Well, I took a look at who reviewed it. This person
Give me a tutorial.
is a senior editor. Here's the review posted.
Now he's throwing
on
shade.
April 25th, and here is my favorite screenshot from the entire game: the man looking at a girl's butt. Okay, all right. So I'm starting to learn a little bit more, but then I had a lot to say about this game. Here are some random tidbits I didn't include. Okay, maybe this provides more context on your review score. First point: all the freakers are apparently white. Can we get more wheelchair zombies, please? Wasn't this a complaint about Resident Evil 2 that too many of the zombies were black? Come on. Who cares? And oh, by the way, it might shock you to know that there's actually narrative around this. Yes, Kaylee, something you completely forgot to mention is that, from what I understand, the game actually addresses this, and the infection itself causes a cellular degradation.
Doesn't affect black people.
Causes the skin pigment to fade near albinism, meaning making them look like albinos, and that it functions a lot like cancer. So it also stands to reason that things like hair and eye color might also change, and so on and so forth. So the game itself addresses it. I'm supposed to believe you played the game, but you completely ignored the fact that they built in actual reasoning for why the skin color of the Freakers is white. The biggest technical issues were patched out during the review period, but the game chugs on a regular PS4, and which is actually a very fair critique. Now, I'm somebody who has a PS4. I have a PS4 Pro behind me, but I'm afraid to open it because it's like the special edition Spider-Man one. And we're so close to the next generation that I'm probably fine, given that most of the games I play are on PC anyway. But here's another thing. I hate the phrase, old lady. So, okay, I refer to my wife as old lady, ironically, you know. But, all right, so you didn't like how old lady, and you didn't like that there were too many white zombies. Oh, and I can confirm that promise to ride me as much as you ride your bike is not the only thing that is said. There's even a callback to it. So she doesn't like the spicy talk. So maybe it stands to reason. Now, obviously, I can't know this, but it would seem that some of the SJW issues that maybe got edited out of this, or maybe she tried to hide, were maybe false. Maybe they were artificially lowering your score for Days Gone. Now, I'm not saying Days Gone is a 10. I'm not even saying it's a 9. I'm not saying, I mean, I think only a hardcore fan would probably give it an 8 in its current state with the patches and everything. But to give it a 5 seems like there's an artificial reason you're dragging that down, and I wonder why that could be. I wonder why. But interestingly enough, you go on, but you could say fat equals gross/bald is just so lazy and harmful. It's especially frustrating in kids' movie where all the female characters have the same body type. That really does affect people's self-image. Okay, so
I don't care about self-image in video games.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Antifa went on the attack in Portland, Oregon yesterday. One of the victims who was bashed by them joins us just ahead with an account of what happened. But first tonight, it's been a bewildering couple of months for Bill Barr. Imagine you're Bill Barr. Barr first served as Attorney General in the George H.W. Bush administration. That was 1991. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had just turned 2 years old at the time. That's how long ago it was. Then this February, purely by process of elimination, basically because he was the one guy who could get confirmed, Barr became Attorney General of the United States once again. The Mueller investigation was nearly over when he got the job. Barr probably didn't expect to become a major figure in the Russia story because he had nothing to do with it. As far as we know, Barr never met with secret agents in Prague. He never texted Vladimir Putin on his BlackBerry. He never managed a Macedonian content farm. If Barr betrayed this country for a sack of rubles or a case of vodka, nobody has ever proved it. But it doesn't matter. The Russia story cannot die. CNN, the Washington Post, the Democratic Party, many others have too much invested in that story. The fact it's been proven to be untrue is irrelevant to them. Bill Barr is a handy way to keep Russia in the news. Watch today's talking point in action. Somewhere in the basement of the Democratic National Committee, some messaging consultant has decided that credibility is the most effective line of attack. Watch.
You're now joining the chorus of Democrats saying he should resign. Why?
Well, first of all, his credibility was shredded yesterday.
He played a home game today, and his credibility was destroyed.
This attorney general lacks all credibility.
He has burned through any credibility he had in that role, and he should resign.
You should resign. What we have here is what we always have here every single time. We have projection. They call you what they themselves are, whether it's privileged or bigoted or hateful,
I should resign.
or in this case, fraudulent. These are the same people who spent 2 full years ginning up hysteria over a bogus story. But it's the rest of us, they tell us with a straight face, who lack credibility. These are the people who hated the results of a Democratic election so much that they dropped everything and worked tirelessly for years in order to nullify that election. So guess what they're calling other people tonight? Enemies of democracy.
The Attorney General joined with his
God, I hate this
supervisor, the President of the United States, decided to show the American people that this is not a democracy.
Stop this attack on our republic and save this nation, its democracy.
It's simply a Nazi, and it is part of the attack on American democracy by this administration.
English is the largest language in the history of the world. More nouns, more adjectives, more verbs than any language ever. And yet, night after night, we've managed to find tape of people saying exactly the same thing. Almost like it's coordinated. Tonight it's, they're attacking our democracy, says the guy who refuses to wait until the next election to throw out the elected president. Okay. It went on like this today, and on and on. Democrats stopped in the end trying to make a rational case for their position or even use words. By the end, they were resorting to prop comedy. Here's Congressman Steve Cohen of Memphis.
We are looking at images of you at that committee hearing today with what appears to be a bucket of fried chicken. And oh, there it is. You brought props, I see, with you here.
Oh, my
What is the
God.
message you're trying to send?
Seriously.
The message is that Bill Barr is a chicken.
This is clown
He was
politics.
chicken to come to the House Judiciary Committee.
What are
He
you
does
doing?
Not deserve respect.
I'm
He
just
has
a
lowered
streamer.
The bar for
What are you
lawyers
doing?
and for the Attorney General.
He deserves no respect. He's lowered the bar.
He's eating
says the
fried
guy who
chicken
just
of
brought
our
a bucket
tax
of fried chicken
dollars.
onto the House floor.
That son of a bitch.
So how long does this circus continue? And by the way, why is it still in progress? Why hasn't it left town yet? Glenn Greenwald founded The Intercept. He's followed the Russia story since the very first day. We're happy to have him for the first time in the studio tonight. Glenn, thanks very much for coming on. So if you think about it for a second, it's a little strange that this is continuing since, the Mueller report is out. President likely not going to be impeached on the basis of anything the Mueller report found. So what is the point of continuing with the story?
And the point is everything that you just said, namely that for 3 years, it's almost been 3 years, it started in mid-2016, the Democrats have put all their eggs in one basket, which is that they've insisted the central theme of the Trump presidency is that he was a Russian agent who collaborated with the Kremlin in the election, and they all agreed that Robert Mueller was going to be empowered to get to the bottom of this, and we were all going to accept whatever it was that Mueller found. And what Mueller found was that the entire conspiracy theory was a hoax, that there's no evidence to establish that it's true. And they led their flock to believe for so long and profited greatly from it. Cable networks that did it saw massive increases in their ratings. Newspapers that did it saw huge subscription increases. They made tons of money exploiting people like con artists. And now it's kind of like the leader of an apocalyptic doomsday cult who keeps promising the world's going to end on a certain date, and then the date comes and the world still goes. And so you need to keep giving people reasons to follow you and to believe. And we are now descended from Trump is a Russian agent, he's controlled by the Kremlin, he conspired with the Russians, to people eating fried chicken because they say that Bill Barr waited 3 weeks before releasing the entire Mueller report that he himself gave to the public.
Where's the part where we stop, assess what we've just seen for the past 3 years, hold people accountable for it, learn something from it, and move on?
I think
accountability is the last thing our government fucking wants. The fact that we have classified anything means that.
Seeing so much intense rage toward Bill Barr is because they know what he's now going to do, which is what journalists should be doing, and at least some of us are, which is asking the question, which is now, for me, the central question in American politics. How is it that our discourse has been drowned out for almost 3 years by a conspiracy theory, or really a set of conspiracy theories, as inflammatory and as dangerous as you can possibly get, that turned out to be totally untrue? Who started this conspiracy theory? How are the vast invasive powers of
Hillary Clinton did! She paid for the fucking dossier!
To spy and infiltrate a campaign and spy on American citizens in the name of a conspiracy? As a leftist, somebody who is steeped in the history of the Church Commission, the abuses of the FBI under Hoover. These are the most serious things that can happen. You want to talk about threats to democracy? How about spying on and listening in on the calls of American citizens by convincing a FISA court that they're Russian agents, when then you unleash a prosecutor for 22 months who concludes that they aren't Russian agents, that there's no evidence to suggest that that was the case. That's the real scandal, and that's where the investigation is now going to turn, and that's why they're panicking about Bill Barr, because they know that he is going to unflinchingly pursue that.
I couldn't agree more. And in fact, that's where the show is turning right now. Glenn Greenwald, thank you very much.
Great to be with you.
During yesterday's hearing, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island said he was outraged that the Attorney General would call FBI monitoring of the Trump campaign spying.
You used the word spying about authorized DOJ investigative activities.
I think spying is a good English word that, in fact, doesn't have synonyms because it is the broadest word incorporating really all forms of covert intelligence collection. So I'm not going to back off the word spying. And up until all the fall outrage a couple of weeks ago, it's commonly used in the press to refer to authorized activities, such as referring
But it's
to the
not
FISA court
commonly
as the
used by
spy
the
court.
department.
What?
It is not commonly used by the department.
You can't use the word spy. It makes Donald Trump look right. We can't have. It's not. It's not common for President Trump to get elected. We have to remove him from office, and the fact he used the word spy is going to help us.
My time is up.
What?
It is not commonly used by the department.
My time is up.
My time is
commonly used by me.
Ah!
Barr, of course, was right. Almost always the guy who speaks in plain and clear English is right. That's why he's speaking plainly, because he's not trying to hide anything. A new New York Times story reveals that the existence of a previously unknown informant was used to spy on the Trump campaign.
Oh, yeah.
A woman who went by the alias Azra Turk was sent to meet with campaign aide George Papadopoulos and tried to extract information from him. George Papadopoulos has a new book out called Deep State Target, How I Got Caught in the Crosshairs of the Plot to Bring Down President Trump. Probably the most accurate title of a book in a long time. He joins us tonight. George, thanks very much for coming on. So briefly describe your experience with the woman you believe was sent to spy on the Trump campaign by the Obama administration.
Sure, that's a great question. And I received an unsolicited email in September of 2016 from a man named Stefan Halper, who was suggesting that he wanted to pay me $3,000 to write a report on energy security questions that I was a recognized expert on at the time in Israel, Turkey, and Cyprus. And I looked him up. I'd never heard of him before. I just saw that he had worked in 4 U.S. administrations, and he was a professor at Cambridge. So I accepted his offer. He flew me to London, where he paid a 5-star hotel, my flight. And he said, before I meet with you, I need you to meet my assistant. And he put this assistant in an email chain along with me. And I saw her name was Azra Turk. I recognized it as Turkish, which was a bit suspicious right away because my policy positions throughout my entire career were very hostile to Turkey. So when I noticed a Turkish name, I didn't understand why she'd be involved. But anyways, I went and I met with her, and she was very suggestive, as you could understand. Younger, very flirtatious, and I right away understood that this wasn't a Cambridge assistant. And, she barely spoke English, she was very flirty, and was trying to do 2 things. One, to extract information about my professional connections in the Middle East, and 2, to see if I had...
This really flirty U.S. spy? What the fuck?
Had any information that she could potentially extract for me about Trump.
A honeypot!
Of course, is nonsense. And so anyways, after I meet with her, she is then introduced to me again the next day with Stefan Halper, where she goes from this suggestive young lady to now pouring us coffee. And Stefan Halper is very belligerent. I explain it in my book how belligerent he is, how he invited me to basically castigate me about my policy positions. And of course, Azra Turk then took me to dinner and was just basically trying to extract information. I was very suspicious. And, from that moment, I knew there was something wrong, and I was laughing about it. But now, of course, the New York Times reported that she was some sort of agent, but I don't think she was FBI. I think she was CIA.
But she was dispatched by the Obama administration. Barack Obama was the president of the United States, led the executive branch, including CIA and FBI and every other agency, to spy on, in effect, the Trump campaign. Am I missing something, or is that what happened?
That's absolutely what happened, and I want to make something very clear here. I don't think President Trump was tweeting about UK interference out of the blue for no reason last week, because let me explain why. The day I met with Stefan Halper and Azra Turk in London, I was invited by the British Ministry of Foreign Affairs to meet with them at their offices, including with Tobias Ellwood, who was the number 2 at the time under Boris Johnson. So clearly, when the New York Times suggested in their reporting today that the British were told of this operation, I believe the British actually were actively spying on me as well. And I think part of what President Trump was tweeting last week about the British spying was about this involvement in this operation in London. So I guess we have a lot more to find out.
I would just remind you, I mean, you wound up going to jail briefly, correct?
Yes, I did. I went for 11 nights.
Yeah. So you go to jail. You didn't spy for Russia. It turns out you didn't do anything wrong, and your life is destroyed. But we shouldn't figure out how this happened because why? I don't know. George, congratulations.
I think we definitely need to find out.
You think? Yes, I think we do. And your book is a good way to start that process. Thanks for joining us tonight, George.
Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot for having me, Tucker. Thank you. Of
course. Richard Goodstein is a lawyer, a former advisor to Bill and Hillary Clinton, and we're happy to have him tonight. Richard.
Oh, boy, here comes the resistance. This guy has got the smuggest face in town. Hold on, chat. We need to fucking screenshot this fucking guy's face. Holy shit. Have you ever seen a mug more fucking smug than that bitch? Holy crap. Where's my screen cap tool? Yeah, no, we don't need fucking graphs. I don't need Excels. Close, go away. New. Look at this guy. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. Now this could get spicy. Let's put that in my downloads folder.
How about that?
Yeah.
So,
how about
that? Are you curious? Are you concerned? Does it make you wonder what country this is? That could have happened to George Papadopoulos?
Nope.
I'm sure George has many positive qualities. This focus on him reminds me of the focus of many people on the caravans in the run-up to the election.
It's going to remind me of Benghazi and Hillary Clinton's emails.
Everybody in the Trump world bought that this was a horrible thing, and nobody else did, which is why the Congress flipped, okay? And
Congress flipped.
George, let me tell you what Donald Trump said about your friend George, which is that he's a proven liar. What Michael Caputo said, he's a coffee boy. This notion of spying.
No, but I want to know what you think.
I'll tell you exactly what I think.
Halper has worked for the U.S. government, for CIA, as a contract spy. He reached out to this kid who had no knowledge of him at all. He was clearly acting on behalf
of the campaign to listen to Corin Lewandowski, who was a campaign chairman.
Is this okay with you? That the Obama administration would dispatch spies to spy on an American citizen is clearly what happened.
Yeah.
Is that all right?
I think what's all right is that when 5 friendly
He didn't answer his question.
countries report to our intelligence agencies that there are these reports that they're getting that are, they credit that the Russians are, in fact, as we now know from our intelligence community, trying to infiltrate the campaign and try to tip the scales.
But Papadopoulos,
yes, that troubles me.
So does it bother you that he wasn't a Russian spy? He got spied on by Obama, and then they sent him to... No, he did.
That's like saying babies in cages were done by Trump.
Yeah, that's what people say.
Well,
look, the president is in charge of the executive branch of government. the Trump campaign was spied on by the Obama administration, and this guy went to jail, but he didn't do anything. He didn't spy for the Russians.
He admitted lying. That's why he went to jail.
In the course of an investigation into something he didn't do.
Well, then he should have not.
Is that justice?
Well, he should have then not admitted lying and gone to trial if he thought he had the merit on his side.
Do you have a problem with that?
I don't have a problem. Look,
with liars going to jail.
Donald Trump invited the Russians to help, and they did, and it benefited him. I'm troubled by the fact that nobody in the administration is as upset about that as they are about poor Carter Page and George Papadopoulos.
Well, their lives were destroyed, and they didn't do anything
wrong. And our country was attacked, according to Dick Cheney, as an act of war. Well, you take that up with him next time you talk with him.
Our country was not, I don't care how many Republicans repeat that line. We're not even certain exactly where that information came from. No, I'm serious. People who have looked at it carefully, people with deep knowledge of this question, are not convinced, and we've never seen evidence exactly how those servers were hacked. I think
I think I've seen people on this network interview Mike Pompeo when he was head of CIA.
I don't care.
He was unqualified about saying what the Russians did.
That means he was
by the fact that nobody in the administration is as upset about that as they are about poor Carter Page and George Papadopoulos.
Well, their lives were destroyed, and they didn't do anything wrong.
And our country was attacked, according to Dick Cheney, as an act of war. Well, you take that up with him next time you talk with him.
Our country was not, I don't care how many Republicans repeat that line. We're not even certain exactly where that information came from. No, I'm serious. People who have looked at it carefully, people with deep knowledge of this question, are not convinced, and we've never seen evidence exactly how those servers were hacked.
I think I've seen people on this network interview Mike Pompeo when he was head of CIA.
I don't care.
He was unqualified about saying what the Russians did.
That means, let me just say how much that means to me. Oh, nothing.
Well,
I want to see the evidence.
I
don't trust anymore. I don't trust my government just because they tell me to shut up and accept it.
And I'm not saying we should shut up and accept anything.
Yeah, you are saying
But every intelligence agency that's looked into it is unqualified about saying what the Russians did.
They lie to us all the time. And we're not allowed to ask questions, and we're Russian agents?
Confident enough to kind of all lie in sync. I think the evidence was pretty clear.
Well, actually, they have lied all in sync. They lied about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They're lying now on many levels. And we have a right as American citizens to ask real questions, and I'm going to. I don't care.
And we've had Republicans control Congress at a time when they could have looked into it. And
I don't care if they're Republicans. I don't trust them either.
Okay.
That's the truth. Richard, thank you.
Of course.
More parents could soon face criminal charges in the Varsity Blues cheating scandal. That is next. Plus, another media outlet is being sued for its handling of the Covington High School news story.
Is Carlson our guy? Is he our guy?
Nick Sandman of Covington High School.
Is he our guy?
Kentucky is suing NBC for $275 million for its coverage of his confrontation with Nathan Phillips, the supposed tribal leader, Vietnam veteran, at the Lincoln Memorial. The lawsuit says, correctly, that NBC helped promote the fake storyline that Sandman tried to intimidate Phillips.
Nuke NBC.
Later footage revealed exactly the opposite. As usual, Phillips came up and confronted Sandman, who was simply standing there. Even after it was clear exactly what happened, because there were multiple tapes and they all showed the same thing, Sandman went on the Today Show and the host badgered him like he was the aggressor. Watch this.
Do you feel from this experience that you owe anybody an apology? Do you see your own fault? We looked at that video and thought about how it felt from the other's perspective.
What do you
mean?
In other words,
what
about from his perspective? Why is the kid got to be the
of the others? There's something aggressive.
Why is the kid got to be the adult in the situation? Oh yeah, because he's white male versus a minority. Minorities are incapable of acting like mature adults, according to this lady.
About standing there, standing your ground.
Yeah. Something aggressive about standing there. Molly Hemingway said that for years. She's a senior editor at The Federalist, and she joins us tonight. Something kind of aggressive about you sitting there, Molly.
Apparently,
I would have to say.
yeah, no, it is.
Feel intimidated. So does this lawsuit, I mean, I guess the upside is it really kind of offers a very clear explanation of a fraudulent story.
Right, and it's not the first of these lawsuits that's been filed. There have been 2 others against 2 other media outlets. And what's important about it, what's interesting and why people are paying attention, is currently there aren't any repercussions really for getting stories completely wrong.
Right.
And you're seeing this where the media feels sort of empowered to smear people, including in this case a child who had come out to Washington, D.C. for the March for Life, and they did this over the course of days. They said false things about this boy and his school that were demonstrably untrue. And right now, there's not a lot of accountability for this. You know, they do these false stories, they get ratings, they get money, and they never really are held accountable for
Why can we get multiple eyes?
And
on
no
the
one
body?
pauses to kind of reverse engineer it. How did this happen? How did this? It began on a weekend. It's not really a news story, is it? I mean, there's a lot going on in the world, but the networks were all over this like it was the most important thing.
I think because if you were to look into how this happened, it would not make the media look very good. They liked this story because it was a way to make the March for Life an event that they do not cover year after year, despite the fact that hundreds of thousands of people attend it each year in Washington, D.C. It was a way to make the March for Life look bad. It was a way to make Donald Trump voters or supporters look bad. And so it was just convenient. It fit a narrative that they would like to perpetuate. And if they were to look at their own biases and look at how those biases can lead to really bad news, they might start to think about other issues that they have covered poorly. I mean, you just, in the earlier part of the show, we're talking about this Russia collusion hoax that went on for years and caused real damage to the country, including in our foreign policy, administration of government, and you're not even having people take accountability for that, or the other people they've been smeared, that have been smeared, like Brett Kavanaugh, who, when he was going through his confirmation battle. So they don't want to look into it because I think the entire edifice would come crumbling down.
Just all the destroyed lives. I mean, and no one ever stops to say, well, we just wrecked someone's life. He'll never work again. And we're responsible for that.
And that's why I think this story has resonated so much with Nicholas Sandmann. They've done it to people who are adults. They've done it to people who they think deserve it. You know, Donald Trump, you can do whatever you want to him, or conservatives or Republicans. This was a boy, a teenage boy who was doing something good and got smeared as doing something bad. People sense the injustice of that, and they want to see some people finally take responsibility for it.
Go to court.
I hope someone finally does. Molly, thanks. It's great to see you.
Great seeing you.
Another of President Trump's Federal Reserve nominees has withdrawn his name after his character was assassinated. He joins us to respond just ahead. Plus, Antifa got violent in Portland, Oregon yesterday.
Has found good news for and about President Trump. According to the CNN poll, are you ready? 56% of Americans approve of the president's handling of the economy. That is the highest.
to reboot this country and to make this nation great again. won't let you defend the border and wouldn't give you the funding. We understand. But the place you can take action is as a champion of the First Amendment. President Trump, you've done a great job, but you absolutely must now come to the defense of the First Amendment.
What is Hannity
Carlson is guilty of groupthink. Maybe some of the other things, I forget the list, but no, you're out there on your own, which is, you know what, refreshing. Great show, Tucker.
Thanks, man. See ya.
All right, buckle up. Welcome to Hannity. Thank you for being with us.
Buckle up,
we have multiple
buckaroos.
major developments to bring you, including proof that Comey's deep state cabal spied on the Trump campaign. We have tonight breaking news, an admission from the Ukrainian embassy. In fact, the DNC did try to collude with their government during the 2016 election. We actually have evidence. We're going to show you how the Democratic Party is unraveling right before your eyes. Lawmakers, presidential candidates alike literally melting down because their Russia collusion fantasy, it's over. Anything from here on is just noise. Nothing more, noise. The witch hunt is done. Mueller has gone home. No collusion, no obstruction. They lost, they lied, they conspired, they sent out conspiracy theories and hoaxes. And now the boomerang of justice is in full motion. We start tonight a breaking report from the New York Times, which might have actually gotten something
Fuck off, you fucking spiders.
They even said, wow, the dossier might
Leave me
actually
alone!
use Russian disinformation
For
to
fuck's
influence the
sake!
2016 election, the one Hillary paid for. But according to the paper,
Why is vanilla so hard?
State spying against the Trump campaign.
Where do you come from?
A little late, but in a big way. The headline reads, quote, FBI sent investigator posing as assistant to meet with Trump aide in 2016. The article details a London meeting between a female FBI investigator working undercover, a Cambridge professor, and a foreign policy expert named Stefan Halper. Gee, we've talked a lot about this. And Trump campaign advisor George Papadopoulos. He spent 2 weeks in jail. The meetup was supposed to be a foreign policy strategy session. The undercover investigator, well, set up the meeting. Halper was working as a secret FBI informant, and the pair both worked in unison to spy on Papadopoulos to set the Trump campaign up. Quote, the conversation at a London bar in September 2016 took a strange turn when the woman sitting across from George Papadopoulos asked a direct question. Was the Trump campaign working with Russia? Keep in mind, Halper was also set up multiple meetings with Trump campaign aide Carter Page and Sam Clovis, and who was being wiretapped. Another way they spied on the Trump campaign by the FBI after the FBI Director Comey and others obtained that FISA warrant using Hillary Clinton's opposition research, which the New York Times is now suggesting could be Russian disinformation, the phony, unverified dossier, the dirty Russian dossier. Wow. It's all beginning to come into focus, as I've been predicting. None of these spying sessions yielded any evidence of Trump-Russia collusion because there was no collusion. But without a doubt, spying, the Attorney General was right, did occur in the height of a presidential election under the Biden-Obama...
New York Times is pro-censorship on one particular issue. The regulation of anything involving New York Times.
Administration's
So
watch
fucking deep, I know,
against an opposition party candidate. Who knew what when? We will get those answers eventually. Tonight, Democrats, they are pretty detached from reality. As I said, anything from here on in, it's noise. They can't handle. They couldn't handle the election loss. They can't handle no collusion, no obstruction. But it's over. But watch them anyway.
In the entirety of your previous career in the Department of Justice, including as Attorney General, have you ever referred to authorized department investigative activities officially or publicly as spying? I'm not asking for private conversation.
I'm not going to abjure the use of the word spying. I think, my first job was in CIA, and I don't think the word spying has any pejorative connotation at all. To me, the question is always whether or not it's authorized and adequately predicated spying. I think spying is a good English word that, in fact, doesn't have synonyms because it is the broadest word incorporating really all forms of covert intelligence collection. So I'm not going to back off the word spying.
By the way, thank God for the great intelligence officers that serve we the people.
I love you,
They're
CIA officers who are
day, the 99%.
You know, doing
Thank
real shit.
God for the premier law
The ones who
enforcement
aren't
agency
screwing over
in the
country.
entire world, the FBI.
But it's hard to tell the difference.
99%. Tonight, though, we know that the deep state aggressively spied on the Trump campaign during and after the election. That's the biggest abuse of power. That's what we got to solve, and if we don't get to the bottom of it, we lose the country. No sign that the Clinton campaign faced any similar scrutiny, even though, as it turns out, well, there was a massive amount of evidence that Clinton and the DNC were the ones, pay close attention, trying to collude with foreign governments. Don't take it from me. Just look at what the Ukrainian embassy confirmed to the Hill's John Solomon, who will join us in a minute. Bombshell new report from him details the government of Ukraine is accusing a DNC contractor named Alexandra Shalupa of attempting to collude with their government, saying that she, quote, sought information from the Ukrainian government on Paul Manafort's dealings inside the country in the hopes of forcing the issue before Congress. According to the ambassador's office, Shalupa also tried to arrange for the Ukrainian president to comment on Manafort's Russian ties on a U.S. visit during the 2016 campaign. Evidence. This comes after a Ukrainian court found that high-ranking officials inside its government sought to help Hillary Clinton win the election, and admission from Bruce Orr that a Ukrainian lawmaker was feeding phony anti-Trump dirt to Fusion GPS, the firm that, well, yeah, Bruce Orr's wife Nellie worked for, the firm responsible for the bought and paid for Russian lies to influence the 2016 election. Might have been Russian disinformation, according to the New York Times. And we're going to have more on my monologue in a moment. Joining us first now to break down these shocking new developments, the Hill's John Solomon. John, let me just remind people, there's another aspect to this. We played the tape. We have then Vice President Biden, who basically is holding $1 billion of American aid money hostage, saying, that's right, I'm leaving in 6 hours. You fire this prosecutor, or you're not getting the $1 billion. You don't believe me? Call Obama. Prosecutor apparently was investigating his son, and his tactic worked. The prosecutor investigating Biden's son gave in to Biden's, well,
also Biden should go to jail.
Just as backdrop, tell us what you got.
Half of our
Yeah,
politicians
listen,
probably go to jail.
the Ukraine is the Democrats' Russia in 2016, and the truth of the matter is, we're
Tulsi Gabbard, you got to get out of that
did
Democrat
not pan
party.
out. The story that the Democrats
You could be a
built on
rock
Russia
star Republican. You could be
President
running
Trump
for
was colluding with them
You
did
could be
not
running
pan
for
out. It turned out
president
there
as
was no
Democrat. I
collusion.
mean Republican.
In Ukraine, you see clear evidence now that Democratic figures, starting with the Obama White House and now a Democratic National Committee contractor, were asking for Ukraine's help in building this story about Paul Manafort and trying to tar Donald Trump with it. And the ambassador is very clear about what happened. She came in, she had this plan to get this information, then she would break it in Congress and then try to get Donald Trump disqualified in the election in the fall. So they had an October surprise plan, so to speak, or maybe a September surprise. But the ambassador says this clearly happened, and one of his deputies told me Ukraine actually went and gathered all the evidence to see what they had on Donald Trump. The ambassador said ultimately they chose not to give it to this this woman because they knew what she was asking was an unlawful intervention in the U.S. election. But pretty extraordinary that the party that gave us the Russia collusion narrative, the false story, was colluding itself with the Ukrainian, or trying to collude with the Ukrainian government.
You know, John, all the people that are obstruction, notice that they never talked about, and this is the same time period. This is what makes it so interesting. They don't care about Hillary's obvious obstruction with intent. Right. The intent was to delete, destroy the evidence in a multitude of ways from the underlying crime. That was top secret classified emails, a violation, felonies of the Espionage Act. They don't care about that, just like they don't care about, the lieutenant governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, serious charges of rape and violent sexual assault. No eye believers, but if they can bludgeon Kavanaugh, it matters. Now we've got real evidence of real collusion from a DNC staffer asking for it with a real email, and the Ukrainians admitting it. Where are all the other people? Where are all the colluder people?
That's right. And she sends an email to the DNC later bragging about her efforts in Ukraine. So there's no way the DNC could say they didn't know what she was up to. She sent them an email boasting about it and predicting there was a big development about to come. That email was sent 2 weeks before the Ukrainians illegally leak the Manafort documents in Ukraine, which sent the beginnings, really the origins of a lot of this false Russian narrative. So the documents are there. I heard from a lot of people in the intelligence community in the last hour or two since my story broke. They had said they've heard this rumor for a long time. They were amazed that the ambassador finally confirmed it was true.
And and there's more coming, by the way. And I always said, investigative reporter with The Hill, John Solomon, who's staying with us. He'll be back in a few minutes. But first, we have more breaking news. Catherine Herridge, she just wrapped up an important interview with the president.
Oh,
and
another
Catherine,
great
a lot
lady.
of breaking news there, especially as it relates to James Comey. Tell us what
Alex, you're objectifying the
Sharon,
women.
good
Yes,
evening.
I
The
am.
President
She
told
deserves
Fox
recognition.
The declassification
She puts
of the
work
Russia
into
surveillance warrant records will be coming.
Why she put blush on her cheeks? Because she's trying to look like she's sexually aroused, according to John.
Quote soon, suggesting midsummer at the outside. Is there a timeline on when the public will see these Russia records declassified?
Yes, I'm going to be allowing declassification pretty soon. I didn't want to do it originally because I wanted to wait, because I know what I've seen the way they play. They play very dirty. So I decided to do it, and I'm going to be doing it very soon, far more than you would have even thought.
May, June, July?
No, soon. I mean,
Soon,
whenever they
weeks?
need it. Whenever they need it, I'll be doing it. But I will be declassifying, yes, everything.
This week in the New York Times, the former FBI Director James Comey accused the president of being, quote, amoral and rubbing off on the Attorney General William Barr and Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. The president shot back in this exchange. If you take Director Comey out of the equation and his actions in 2016 and 2017, would the country be where it is today?
I think that he did a terrible job. I would say he probably
sedition's
led some
not
kind
really
of an effort.
punishable by death.
The word spying has been used. He probably was one of the people leading the effort on spying. So
It's a very serious charge to make.
I know. We'll find out whether or not it was true, and I think it could very well be true, but we're going to find out pretty soon.
And on congressional requests for the former White House counsel Don McGahn, the president said, quote, it's done, effectively over, Sean.
All right, Catherine Herridge in Washington, as usual, great work there. Big news on declassification, big news on the president's thoughts on James Comey. Thank you, Catherine, for that report. We appreciate it. That should now echo out in the news world. We'll see if that happens, but we have some good news tonight. The president will no longer be plagued by an unfair hoax. In spite of everything that the fake news media mob says, in spite of the Democrats, in spite of subpoenas, in spite of this, it's over. They lost. It's done. It's finished. They officially lied to the American people for over 2 years. They peddled conspiracy theories. It was all a hoax from the get-go. As the Attorney General, Barr, yesterday, put all this fake, phony collusion narrative to rest once and for all. And whether they like it or not, he has the final say. And the evidence didn't bear out everything they said. Take a look.
Do you share my concerns about the FISA warrant process?
Yes.
Do you share my concerns about the counterintelligence investigation, how it was opened and why it was opened?
Yes.
Do you share my concerns that the lack of professionalism in the Clinton email investigation is something we should all look at?
Yes.
Do you expect to change your mind about the bottom line conclusions of the Mueller report?
No.
Do you think the president's campaign in 2016 was thoroughly looked at in terms of whether or not they colluded with the Russians?
Yes.
And the answer is no, according to Bob Mueller.
That's right.
He couldn't decide about obstruction. You did. Is that correct?
That's right.
You feel good about your decision?
Absolutely.
Let me summarize. Mueller is finished. The investigation, the charges, the lies are over. But FISA abuse will be looked into. Yes, abuse of power within the upper ranks of the FBI and DOJ will be looked into. This counterintelligence, quote, narrative, how did it all happen? We'll get to the bottom of it. Hillary's, how did she get a rigged investigation? That, too, is now being looked at. Nadler apparently doesn't believe his fellow Democrats have the intellectual capacity, though, to question the Attorney General of the United States. But House oversight, it belongs to House members, not their staff, not unelected, not unaccountable attorneys. Congressman Doug Collins of Georgia said it best, saying, quote, over the 206-year history of this committee, staff have never questioned witnesses in an oversight hearing. Never, not once. So to say that Chairman Nadler's demands are unprecedented would be an understatement. Well said, Congressman. Now, Democrats, they are becoming noticeably unhinged even more. And it's not a pretty picture. This is sort of like election night 2016 on super steroids and human growth hormone. Today, Democratic Congressman Steve Cohen tried to send a political message to Barr by chomping down on some fried chicken in the middle of a committee hearing. I'm not making, that happens to be my favorite, by the way. Other Democrats took a more predictable approach, demanded Barr be impeached for misrepresenting the Mueller report in his initial letter, even though Mueller admitted that Barr's summary was not in any way, nothing was inaccurate, nothing was illegal, misleading, nothing. And Barr was under no legal obligation to release any portion of the Mueller report, and still the hysteria ensued. As a matter of fact, it was the Democrats after the independent counsel law, people like Nadler didn't even want the Starr report released, which was mandated. There were 11 separate felonies in the Starr report that they said Clinton committed. Yeah, very different story. Editorial board, Wall Street Journal, they don't agree. They wrote this. This trashing of Bill Barr shows how frustrated and angry Democrats continue to be that the special counsel came up empty in his Russia collusion probe. The Journal called Barr a real attorney general, that he's getting smeared for refusing to duck and cover like Loretta Lynch, writing Lynch, quote, failed as Barack Obama's last attorney general to make a prosecutorial judgment about Hillary Clinton's misuse of classified information. Ms. Lynch cowered before the bullying of then FBI Director Comey, who absolved Mrs. Clinton of all wrongdoing. And this brings us full circle right back to Hillary Clinton. From Ukrainian collusion.
Why would I have viewers? I'm watching fucking trash. Let's watch some good shit. Hey, I'm taking requests. What do I put on? Be not afraid. What is this?
Assalamu alaikum, my Muslim brothers and sisters. I come to you today to atone before Allah for my misdeeds against His people. I perpetrated grievous verbal abuse against the defenseless and entirely innocent people of Islam by very sincerely threatening nuclear genocide on the serious platform that is a Discord server. Little known fact, I was given permission by the United States government to do it. Not only did I have the codes, but the launch keys were in and the missiles were seconds away from being launched. All of a sudden, though, I received a flood of Twitter mentions telling me that the actions I described were morally wrong, a fact which I was completely oblivious to. In their sage wisdom, they proved irrefutably that my hatred was unjustified, assuring me that there is no meaningful correlation between Islam and the proliferation of rape gangs in Europe. Long story short, peer pressure succeeded in completely changing my mind, and the peacemaking spirit of John McCain inspired me to stop the nukes just in time. Since then, I've become a devout follower of the Prophet Muhammad. Suffice to say, I've been having a fuck ton of fun. Of course, I get raped by my 40-year-old husband every so often, and I have to worship a black cube to indirectly please an ancient Canaanite god. But at least I get to go to San Fran and stone the shit out of some gays, and the cops can't do anything about it because California's a crypto caliphate. The only part of Islam I absolutely cannot get into is the anti-Jew stuff. Personally, I just can't support any sort of animosity towards Jews. I wouldn't want to be a Nazi now, would I? I assume most of you have noticed the policies surrounding hateful conduct on social media platforms, virtually tightening a muzzle on the head of anyone whose speech eludes the narrative. They're purging their user base, using pseudo-offenses as an excuse to squeeze out ideological dissent, and enforcing conformity into every internet community they can get their hands on. While the deplatforming can be partially chalked up to out-of-touch big tech CEOs who are just taking the path of least resistance, there certainly seems to be a coordinated effort coming from strident professional complainers who share an objective of removing reactionaries from all means of communication. Their job entails closely monitoring the posts of whatever online personalities they come across until one of them says something that's deemed unacceptable. When this happens, these fucking Reddit homos speed to the scene, fueled by their lust for character assassination. If you pay attention to the identity these people put on when they do this, you'll notice it's not their conscious selves, it's a sub-personality. And since they're essentially possessed, they tend to expose things about themselves
ideologically possessed
without even noticing. Because of that, it's very obvious that their behavior has been shaped by years of being humiliated and socially rejected by women. I know that reading will elicit people to accuse me of armchair psychology, but ask yourself this. Why do they always speak like insufferable women? You see, I've had enough run-ins with these amoebas that I understand how they operate, and they never confront you directly. Instead, they default to saying things like, "This is not a good look." I know that sort of language immediately gets the blood boiling, but think about it. They're saying you look bad rather than saying you're wrong. The reason for that is that
is what they do. When I fight with people on Reddit, they say, not on Reddit, on Twitter, they'll point out my spelling mistakes instead of pointing out my argument.
their objective is not to challenge your ideas, but to give you the feeling that a Stacey stare does. Because in their little pea brains, being a social outcast is the worst thing you can be. To put it bluntly, their whole MO is a post hoc projection. They imagine themselves to be the Stacey that rejected them years ago, and their intention is to make you feel how they felt.
Now, this is a little bit of projection. We don't ever know what anyone else ever thinks. Okay? We'll never know anyone's reason for anything.
Inadequate. For example, when they say something is not a good look, ask yourself, who does it look bad to? The purpose of that little phrase is to make you imagine that there's a group whose opinions you should care about, but don't fall for it. They're powerless little prions who spend all day on the computer scouring the internet for people to harass. And there's a reason why they always defer to groups, which fits neatly into my theory. Men, in general, tend more towards antisocial behaviors than women, which is why they're not afraid of confrontation or expressing themselves in an unpopular fashion. These spiritual manlets, however, are feminine, so they defer to groupthink for everything, and their method of attacking you is saying, you're not popular in our group, therefore you should feel bad. However, this too folds, since unlike the Staceys, they don't actually have a group they belong to. And on top of that, it'd still be meaningless, since the truth is anti-democratic. Popularity is utterly irrelevant to what's true and what isn't. So no matter how much cool guy web slang they conjure up and lob at you, they're still evolutionary dead ends who can't think their way out of a paper bag. The worst thing you can do when met with these miserable creatures is compromise. These people are vampires of fear and hysteria, so if you maintain your position and refuse to comply with their demands, they'll become increasingly upset as time goes on. Don't ever allow yourself to be silenced. These nobodies will never amount to anything more than sock accounts on Twitter with numbers in their handle, whose most powerful weapon is canceling you. They can't potentially harm you. Now, I can think of various motivations that would drive someone to become such a lost man, whose only earthly aim is to enhance suffering. I mean, in a lot of cases, it's just an effort to virtue signal. But I think it's far too optimistic of a reading to think of all these guys as simply clueless SJWs. It seems to me that there exist people whose sole interest is to sow the seeds of discord, and possess an infatuation with increasing suffering, stress, and division wherever it may be found, for no particular reason. Think of it this way. If there are people who set out to do good just for the sake of good, there have to be people fixated on doing the exact opposite. The only other motivation I can imagine is reserved for the more aware parties, who foresee the outcome of heavy censorship and encourage it as a way to control the
Well, so hold on. So, interesting point, because I've done good things for the sake of goodness. Like, I cleaned the park randomly one day where a bunch of homeless people litter, and I told no one about it. Actually, I think I tried starting a group and getting other people to do it. Yes, finally got this done. Anyways, but I've trolled people on Twitter, and that could be interpreted to others as malicious evil, but I didn't see it that way. Everyone sees themselves as the good person, good hero in their life story. Everyone's always playing the good guy in their eyes.
dialogue from entering certain undesirable areas. The most easily identifiable characters that fall into this category are the technological elite, aka the sociopathic 30-somethings that reside in the entrails of Silicon Valley.
I certainly find the selection deeply offensive. I know many of you do too. And it conflicts with many of our values. There's actually a lot of historical precedent for boredom being a huge factor in vote, and actually in building extremism, and that correlated highly with Trump's support.
Is this a relatively new arc, or is this the same arc that has included 2 world wars?
History teaches us that there are periods of populism, of nationalism that rise up, and that's all the reason we need to be in the arena. Make sure it doesn't turn into a world war or something catastrophic, but instead is a blip, is a hiccup.
Speaking to white men, there's an opportunity for you right now to understand your privilege in the society.
I lead this company without political bias and work to ensure that our products continue to operate that way.
The right gets 2.5 billion viewed recommendations a month. The centre gets 2.5 billion, and the left gets 5.7 billion.
As a preface, we have to establish that when something happens like Chris Rock getting attacked for making fun of Jussie Smollett, it's all just inconsequential melodrama. Most cases of famous people getting exposed just end up getting memory holed by the common man. Because, despite what bourgeoisie bugmen will tell you, the common man recognizes that words are just words. You make of them what you want, and if you get offended, you chose to. People who live outside of faggoty microcosms reserve their concern for when unprovoked violence starts happening in the streets. Outside of that, they recognize that all of these controversies are merely glazed with an illusion of importance, and you can't take them seriously, ever. This is precisely why you need a higher standard of morality than what you've been socialized into tolerating. What is socially acceptable is radically inconsistent and ever-shifting. It's no coincidence that sectarianism is so prevalent among leftists. The only skill they've obtained mastery of is infighting and creating conflict over dumb, irrelevant shit. And in the cases when somebody says something that sounds bad that wasn't just a joke, it's because it wasn't meant for you. Words are tools, and one of their many uses is the articulation of inner turmoil, regardless of how unpleasant that may be. But some people like pretending that that's not the case and that every word a person utters is an official statement. Years ago, when the politicization of the internet had just begun, the people dedicated to patrolling the internet were noticeably fringe and disorganized. Now, they're a defined enclave, uniformly striving towards scaring others into considering free speech as a conditional concept. How did they achieve this? Fear. By employing the artificial boogeyman of virtual social rejection, they successfully synthesize fear. The more that people become sensitive to the dopamine of retweets and likes, the more they're sensitive to getting ratioed. So when they hit the brick wall of getting called a Nazi or a sexist, they feel as if their lives have ended. Of course, the actual terms mean nothing, but they're effective. Not because the person genuinely feels bad for thinking the way they do, but because they think it makes them unpopular. Essentially, these microbes place all their bets on you being a slave to your PR, so that accusations like that will subdue you into compliance, no matter how asinine their demands are. For, in online contexts, what do your opponents have but fear? And it's crucial that they stick to playing social power mini-games on the internet, because in real life, they don't stand a chance. When your main targets are known for valuing manliness and self-defense, your best bet is to stick to your keyboard and social media account. The claims don't have to be cohesive, and they don't have to actually defeat you in any way. They just have to convince you not to fight. Their main weapon is demotivation, so it doesn't matter if they use words incorrectly or say things that don't make sense. Their only mission statement is to manufacture the thought in your head that you're on the wrong side of history, and have to start agreeing with them if you want to maintain your fan base and public image. People are so scared of this bullshit that they become the peacocks of diversity, showcasing their perverted postmodern version of morality before they even get attacked. After Christchurch, the PM wore a fucking hijab, the signifier of a woman's second-class citizenship, because of how much she wanted to display to everyone how horrible she felt for what happened.
Well, I can't say my friend's name, but he said his biggest fear is that ISIS or some terrorist group like that would get a hold of a dirty bomb and explode it over a major city within the United States and kill tens of millions of people. Because then the blowback against innocent Muslims would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah, that's horrific.
That's true.
Even though all these fucks are leftists, political denomination is insufficient.
Holy crap. I didn't know that. Usually somebody ends up laughing. But she just deadpanned it. That was amazing.
To define their subpersonality because they have characteristics that set them apart from people like Tim Pool and Dave Chappelle, who are also left-wing. In my attempt at trying to characterize the common thread between them, I remember that recently a friend of mine was being taught in school that there is no such thing as a self, and that your identity is defined by how you are perceived by the group. I think that postmodern idea perfectly explains their vicious obsession with appearance over essence. I venture to call them sociological absolutists because they don't believe in any objectively meaningful truth beyond the subjective. And on top of that, they don't believe in any meaningful truth within the subjective either, because whatever you understand yourself to be is irrelevant if the group disagrees. However morally corrupt these surfacists are, I gotta say, they really stick true to democracy. Their claim seems to be that whatever the majority believes is somehow willed into reality like a tulpa, and that logically leads people into doing and being what looks good instead of what actually is good. This is how you get anti-capitalists praising mega corporations for making an ad that deconstructs masculinity. This is how you get feminists who endlessly complain about female portrayal in the media instead of helping the insane numbers of African girls raped in war yearly. It's not about sticking true to not even their ethic. It's plain and simple.
Well, no, that would actually be hard and scary and risky to help the girls in Africa. That'd take work. Instead, you do easy things. You tack your own gender. If you're male, you say all males are bad. If you're white, you say all whites are bad. It's really easy.
Do whatever makes you look good. When this mindset is applied to speech, the conclusion is established that the intent of a speaker is unimportant. What matters is whether their words might negatively influence someone or not. Of course, there's never any evidence of violent behavior being motivated by media. We've already been over this 1,000 times with video games and music. But they don't care that media doesn't create violence. The only thing that matters is the cookie points they'll get for complaining. In that, the feelings, motivations, and intents of the speaker are all done away with. The meaning and permissibility of words to them is left up to the interpretations of demagogues, and they're very keen on smearing you to prop themselves up as moral arbiters. The phrases surfacists employ are like the hook to an EDM song. They're worded with the intent of pandering to as many people as possible. They'll avoid saying anything and everything that is even slightly inconvenient or controversial, because to them, not being...
Okay, this is Be Not Afraid on YouTube by Soph. Here, I'm going to scoot this over so you can see. I gotta go now. My wife's home. We are gonna go watch Game of Thrones together. No spoilers. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'll be probably streaming later and tomorrow and all weekend long. Thank you, one viewer, for being here with me, so I'm not a complete loser. See you later. DJ for me out.